whatever. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks for clarifying.
I thought you were gonna give us a performance.
I thought you were gonna sing for us, did you?
You don't want me singing,
Oh, I'd like to see it.
you don't want me singing, so.
Sure.
All right, I guess at this time of the portion of the meeting, we open it up for anybody that has comments or anything they want to say prior to us going through the agenda. So this time, anybody got anything they want to bring up? All right, move right in. Community crossing grant roadways resurfacing material bid opening.
Bids were received, they were advertised according to plans in the statute, and, we have accepted bids in the auditor's office, and the only thing we received, on April the 6th, were bids from Bitumen Supply, and there were 6 packets, and these are of course unopened, so we will open them now. And then Andrew Boswell is here, he assisted, with some of the language and getting some things advertised for us, so I could send it to the paper. And so, he's here to take a look at the bid format to make sure that it meets the specs. But again, every one of them's from Bitumen, so let me just hand them off to you. Sure.
So this is materials for,
Materials only for the new community crossings grant, number
But-
2 for 2020.
so that's asphalt?
Would be, yes.
Okay.
And materials only.
And you said it was, who was the company?
Bitumen,
So we didn't get bids from O'Mara or Wiggum?
one company that bid, and then all 6 packets, because there were 6 roads, and they could be bid individually or,
Yeah.
so they did 6 different packets, and that's the only company that bid on supplies. And they are out of Charlestown.
Yeah, Bitumen Supply, looks like the owner here is Kent Wingham. So,
Okay, that's what I was questioning.
So, I'm sorry, so they're wanting to bid, bringing this asphalt from, Charlestown, or do they have a closer plant?
They're putting in a closer plan right now.
the,
They're building one in Scottsburg.
Oh, I thought that was me.
That's who, evidently that's a company he.
Oh, okay.
is Not,
Okay, all right. Sorry, go
well,
ahead.
the other was O'Mara, which is, O'Mara's the one that has, actually, I guess I got you, he's at the quarry, and but they didn't bid it on.
Behind the Pepsi plant on 31, they're building, that's where Wing is putting the other one on there, behind there, behind the electric company, actually. On 31.
You want 1 or 2, what are you talking?
He's got one in Charleston, and he's gonna build one behind the
Yeah,
city
I thought-
electric
I thought you
building.
said
Yeah, I
something.
think that's the kind of name that's in cahoots with him, or something, maybe
All right.
they go together, because that's what's the name on his, equipment in Charleston, the more all that.
See, that kinda threw me, cause
Yeah.
I've never heard it called that.
I just wanna make sure, we don't, bring materials from Charlestown, because, you gotta superheat the emulsions in order to get it here, and still have the, asphalt at the temperature you need in order to lay it, which later causes a failure through your asphalt.
Yeah, I think that's why he was trying to put that plan, he's already got part of the plan up there, I think.
well, that's a great point. And on the, on the bid specifications, the suppliers were required to, make it known where their plant was going to be for you guys to go and pick up. And the plant that Bitumen Supply has written down is for the Scottsburg plant. That's,
Okay.
so, and it looks like, so far, they've submitted the same unit price for each roadway segment. And the unit price they have put down is it's about $3 a ton less than what you guys had submitted on your estimate to NDOT. So it is within your engineer's estimate.
So you said $3 less a ton?
Yes. So technically, you won't get as much money as what you guys have put in for, but it won't cost the taxpayers any more.
I guess to be clear here, this is just materials for community crossing grant. If we go out and pave roads on our own, we can go to mayor or whoever.
And this is
Correct.
paid for through the community crossing grant, right?
That's correct.
Thank you.
How did we advertise?
Legally, the Crothersville Times is our newspaper. I know it sounds a little bit different because it's in
Crothersville,
Jackson
yeah,
County, yeah. But it's the only, local paper that is a subscription and the circulation and whatnot that meets the criteria right now, so.
I know that I've had conversations with, some people in Indianapolis. There was a bill that failed, I guess, to pass in the last couple of years. It was a bill that would give, municipalities and counties an avenue to post on the web, these legal documents and legal, notifications. And it actually got defeated for the fact that everybody, I guess in Indianapolis, thinks that every county has a newspaper that is legally able to do that. Since then, I've reached out to our, one of our state reps. I've also reached out to a state senator and trying to get them to bring the bill back up, change the language a little bit to say that if you fall into a category that your county does not have a legal paper, that you can go out and do it online. I think there is avenues that you can, that are out there now that you can do it. We just legally can't do that. So, so anyway, I don't know where that's at. It may be years down the road, but in this day and age, I'm surprised any newspaper is still printing, so. Yes, you. Tabloids, I should say.
And then,
There you go. That's a
I do believe there is that network thing too, to where when those grants are announced publicly, that counties are getting so much money, that would put the suppliers on notice as well, to kind of be looking for the advertisements. They already know where we advertise, and they do I think they're looking for the sale, so they're researching to make sure they have every opportunity covered, so they're not, as long as, besides us reaching out, I literally think if we didn't even advertise, they would be looking at wanting to give a price to us, just because it's a public award and it's a chance for them to make a sale, so, but we legally have to advertise and then wait so many days and then open the bids.
Well, I was curious on whether or not we couldn't make like a Facebook page and invite all the contractors who wants to do business with Scott County onto that page. And that way we had just advertised also on that page, so everybody make sure that they know, you know, because it's easy to get busy and not look into the Crothersville paper in Jeffersonville, you know.
Also with that, I have reached out to Andrew about creating a Facebook page for
Okay.
the counties, so that if we have job openings or something that we can post through that Facebook page. I think technically the only Facebook page that the county has right now, actually two, I think, is Jerry's got one and the county highway has one. I think outside of that, I think,
Ian has his
yeah,
got
you
one.
guys have got one too. And
I think Jeff.
I guess I should say the health department's got one, but I mean, where the county, I guess where I'm getting at is where the county government can post stuff, we don't have a Facebook page. So, he's looking into doing that. He says it should be simple and he's trying to make it where, any department head within this building, I guess, or I guess any department head would have access to where they'd be an admin, or they could add stuff to it if they had a job opening or something without having to go to him and him do it, so.
We can share off of our website now. Anything they put on there, we can share to our own, pass it out.
Yeah, but it's, like I said, I think the more avenues to, get our message out, I think is better. So, what do you got, Andrew?
I went through and looked and all the required bid documents were filled out. You guys required a bid form 95 and a 10% bid bond be filled out and executed, and that accompanies each bid packet. So this is a good bid for
Okay.
each project, and it is slightly under budget.
Okay. I talked to Katie today with the Community Crossing Grant. She would like to have that in an email tomorrow. So can we get that where it can be an email form or whatever she needs sent to her?
That'd be something, maybe you and I both work on that, or do I just need to send the
Yes.
results of those bids to her, or?
There's one document that will need to be executed between the Board of Commissioners and whoever, well, if you guys accept Benham and Supply. And it's created, but it needs to be filled out once you guys award the bid. And that can be done very quickly. The form's already made, and that can be emailed to Katie right away.
Yeah, that's what, I think we're kinda a little bit behind. And she actually pretty much asked, hey, can I have that tomorrow? So if there's something we need to sign, I mean, I guess we can
I
make it.
can facilitate the form and then get it ready for signature,
Great.
okay?
I mean, if I'm the only one that has to sign it, I can come by tomorrow and
Does
sign
it
it.
require all three?
That bid is locked in, and I mean, it can't fluctuate.
That's correct. This is firm. Yep.
Well, I'll entertain a motion to accept the bid. Randy makes a motion, John seconds, I'll make it unanimous, so we can get the paperwork, whatever form that is, and so we can get it signed. Do you think all three of us have to sign it? All three? So is there any way you can swing by tomorrow or something? Just like-
I'll reach out by text, how's that? And then when
Okay.
it's ready, I'll reach out and you guys can come in and sign it. You can
Okay,
do that,
sounds
and I
good.
get it to her. Okay.
All right, appreciate it,
Great.
Thank you, Andrew. I'll be first. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing that this morning too. Absolutely, appreciate it. All right, well, he's quick up on the list here. The sheriff's department's update. How'd you get up and moved up?
I think they still had so much, they just wanted to get it over with.
Guys got paid for it.
Yeah. Oh, quickly, the new COVID-19 room and the new BAC data master room that we made over at the jail outside of the, is done. And we've got, and this is estimated up, I told Doug's one did a figure and he estimated up. So we have $3,652 in the whole room, is what we got estimated.
Did
And
you
that was
go to
the inmate
council for
labor.
that?
I'm getting ready to,
Okay.
yeah, because,
Cause I kinda asked him about it and they said, well, he hasn't come ask us. So.
yeah, no, I'm getting ready to. What I'm gonna do is I went ahead and paid for it because we need to get it out of there. So, I'm gonna ask them for reimbursement.
Okay.
So, let's see here. Another thing was, as I spoke to Mike and John, and I didn't get a chance to get hold of Randy. Scottsburg City's got two, used police vehicles they want $7,500 apiece for. We had a transport car blow up, and we need just another car for the fleet, so I was gonna go ahead and purchase those. I'm gonna purchase those out of commissary too. So it'll be done out of commissary. So,
Reckon you'll be getting rid of one or two?
yeah, the one that's blowed up especially.
Yeah, I figured that was going.
Yeah.
But we just like to get them off our,
Absolutely, I get it.
Actually, you
Yeah, and I'll-
also asked about parting one out or something. or
Yeah, that
taking
was up
parts.
at the old John, a wrecked one. What it is we had a guy that was transporting a couple of vehicles for us for LISO. And he said, man, he said, if I can get in there and get some parts off that old Charger out there, he said, I'm gonna charge you a dime for hauling them. And that's why I've talked to commissioners first, you know. So, and then I spoke to mine.
I'm fine with that. I mean, if it's totaled, I mean.
It's a total one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's just gonna bring scrap price in.
it's gonna bring a scrap price, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
So
good deal.
which model are you disposing of? I'm sorry.
Also have to send it to you.
Okay. If
Yeah,
you mind,
it's
just
the
give me
black
update
transport
on
car,
what they're
yeah.
written to. That
Will
work?
do, absolutely. Let's see here. Our
Was that
online,
by consensus, I'm so sorry to
Oh,
interrupt,
yeah.
was that by consensus
Yes.
that you allowed him to purchase?
I guess, John, you were fine with that, weren't you?
Okay.
oh, yeah.
Randy? Yeah.
let's see here. our online auction, we've got a couple other companies that, we kinda got it on hold now because, we're gonna do the live auction on May the 22nd. But, as far as the online auction, we've got a couple other companies that's contacted us and said they're interested in trying to be an online bidder, so I'm gonna try to get through the best option we can, and once we get that option, I'll give it over to Josh Stigner, whoever the county attorney is, and they can look at it, make sure it qualifies, like you were speaking about earlier.
This
And
is auctions for the,
county equipment, county surplus equipment, yeah, instead of having like a live auction there, we'll have like a 30-day internet auction. And, that the company, what it is they don't charge us nothing, all the fees are paid by the buyer,
okay.
so. And I'll let you know what that is as soon as I find out, because like I said, I had two other ones, you know what I'm saying, come to me and wanted to participate in that, so. As soon as I find out, I'll let you know on that. Another thing is we have the Safe Exchange parking area done.
I know, I drove.
John tried it out. Yeah.
Did you get buzzed when you did something?
Yeah. So, it looks good. We're waiting on a couple of signs is all, to direct the people into the parking lot. So, we went into the cameras too in, Jeff's office, and the camera is perfect, it points right there. So it's gonna be good. So I appreciate the fact you guys let us do that.
Yeah.
So, good deal. We got her done.
Think about it.
Let's see here. Oh, I had to replace one of the dryers in the jail. One of our industrial dryers went down. I had to replace it, and I'm gonna submit that to the council also for reimbursement. No, it was, let's see here,
About $6,500.
somewhere around that, yeah, it was.
That's better than I thought.
Yeah, so,
They're high.
yeah, I wanna submit that. And then also, we had a leak in the new jail. The HVAC system in the new jail had a leak in it, and SNL had to come in and had to do some work, $3,000 or $4,000 worth of work replacing of it.
So it was a water leak or it was,
It was an HVAC leak, let me
So
tell you
it was a-
exactly.
like some gas, like
It was for
gas that's in the system? leak?
ductless mini split at the new jail tech room had a leak in it. Says 5 pounds R410A, that tube stock leak with dye, $97, and then a check leak and mini split leak is brazed fitting in the wall, recharged and added stop leak with dye, checked operation. Total was $697.
How old is that? Since-
What's
Probably
that?
ain't that old, is it?
2015 is when they opened the jail, wasn't it? The new jail, so, yeah. Yep, so, and then he, went in and installed two new, exhaust fans, on old jail. 2 and 5 exhaust fans went out, so we replaced them, and that was, $349. And I'm gonna submit all that, like I said, to the council, so, in the next meeting, so. Alrighty, oh. At the next council meeting too, Teresa wanted me to give the ordinance where it says that, it's your guys' ordinance, and we talked about this back in, I think last October, September, where the county ordinance says that the commissioners was responsible for funding the drug buys. And that is ordinance number 2015-003. And I've got it here, and Tammy's got a copy of it, too. I can make a copy and give it to her. Basically, the only thing it is, it just says that to establish in the county a special non-reverting fund, which is known as the Scott County Sheriff's Office Drug Buy and Covert Investigations Cash Fund, into which shall be deposited $1,000, and this amount shall be maintained throughout the period of the fund's existence. So I'm gonna be giving that to the council. They wanted to know where it says that the commissioners would fund it, so, just so you have a heads up on it, somebody can ask you, you know what I'm saying, you'll know what to tell them. Alrighty, one thing here I need, the Centos contract is just our standard rental service agreement contract.
And what is that again?
The Centos for the, it's for towels and stuff that they do. So, they were doing everything, but we took over the laundry except for like mop heads and stuff that it's not feasible to do. At the very back there, Mr. Jones, is a spot for you to sign, brother. After you read it there, wherever you want to read, if any questions on that.
So it's just mop handle, or mops, mop handles, buckets, and stuff like that, so. Well, everybody, you guys fine with that? So,
You're getting easy, Jerry.
I know it.
You're softballing here, what's going on?
Thank you, buddy.
You must be prepared for something.
Yeah, it's all good,
He's
it's all
got a big
good.
one coming.
It's all good.
If he don't mention, it, I'm going to.
Next thing, we had our jail inspection, jail inspection report. I think Tammy put one of those in your guys' boxes.
I didn't say it.
Maybe I did.
Oh, it's no big deal. We can get you a copy of it. Yeah, no big deal, no big deal, it's no problem. But we'll get you a copy of it, and then, basically, we passed. The inspector gave us accolades, said it was probably the cleanest jail he'd ever been in. So that's very important, you know what I'm saying, to us.
Oh, yeah.
So, we actually had inmates, had taken their beds off the steel bunks and was using toothbrushes to clean the railing on the beds. So they really got into it, and I was really pleased, and it really turned out good. Yeah. One thing that I was gonna ask is this, that I don't know who handles the insurance for the jail. Is that you guys, or is that the council? It is? So what I was gonna ask you is this, contact the insurance company and tell them that we should have the best insurance rate of any jail in the state of Indiana. Cause we got the top-notch rate, we got the, you know what I'm saying, the inspection passed top-notch. We had 0 dings, and we had the cleanest jail, so there should be nobody has a better jail rate than what Scott County is
We'll
right
ask
now.
Richie about that.
And
See what it says.
I've heard, I mean, even on the street, I'm hearing Jerry, so I hear a lot of good talk about how the jail.
Maybe we can filter that out in the rest of the community, so.
Well, that's, you got me. Yeah, that's next. So, and I will get you a copy of the jail inspection report, okay? See here, we talked about the Mid-America, May 22nd, no big deal. Here's something I wanted to talk to you about, and this is totally up to you guys, I'll just be honest with you, I don't really care. But we had a transport the other day coming from Florida. The kid was down in Bay County, Florida, Panama City, Florida, and we had to go get him. Well, for us to go get him, it would cost us car, travel, food, gas, all that. It would be pretty expensive. We was able to hire Transport America. That's the U.S. Corrections LLC. They do travel, you know what I'm saying, pick up prisoners and transport them for
They
people.
fly too, don't they?
They do it, yeah, I forgot one in California, wherever it is, they'll transport them for you. And we actually got by with $1,767.50 is all it charges to bring the person up here. We couldn't have done it that cheap, you know what I'm saying, that'd been a one-way trip for us. Here's my question is this. We do not have a line item in our budget for the council, or for transports. I thought about asking the council for a transport line item because as time goes on, as things get more expensive and as people get more mobile, I'm afraid we're gonna start having some of these folks that's in Las Vegas, and then, I don't care, you know what I'm saying, it don't matter to me, we can send them, but it just made more monetary sense, you know what I'm saying, to do this.
I got a question about
Okay.
that. Why, I mean, is this guy one for murder or something?
It was a child case.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a pretty serious case.
Cause I know
Yeah,
a lot of times people go, well, they're not gonna transport, or they're not gonna come get them, or
Yeah.
whatever, so.
yeah.
So it had to be a serious,
It
serious
was, yeah.
crime, so, okay, alright, that's where I'm getting at, cause
Yeah.
I'd hate to went down there for a guy just not
Yeah,
appearing.
misdemeanor there, yeah.
And in fairness, that's usually not even your decision, that's the judge's decision.
Yeah, or the prosecutor, right?
Yeah.
Prosecutor's
Yeah,
decision.
prosecutor
Prosecutor
good.
tells us to go get it.
I mean, I know we went and got them for theft and everything else, so but that's not your choice. They say go, you go.
Yeah, and it just makes more sense to have a
Should
transport
just send
line.
him a letter and say, hey, could you come up here?
You won the lottery?
You wanna walk me?
Well, there's some places.
They do.
Jefferson County,
Yeah.
Kentucky did that, they
That's
had a
good.
big giveaway, and they all went down there, and they're all one for child support,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah, we'll have to try that.
Are they the only company that does that?
No, there's several companies after Doug.
Yeah, there's several companies, we just use them.
We just
Okay.
use them. They're reputable. They've been in business for a long time, and they've, you know,
Where are they
so-
based out of?
they are based out of Nashville, Tennessee.
So are they law enforcement, or are they like a bounty hunter or whatever? Because,
Right, if something happened, would they,
Yeah,
yeah, they're
that guy-
corrections officers.
so if that guy dies in their custody, is it on
Right.
us or on them?
It's on them, yeah. No, they're completely responsible. Doug can explain it better.
It's on them, it's not, they're not in our custody until they get here at our facility.
Okay.
It's
So you
everything's on
don't
them.
even, you even don't have the risk anymore, so escape and all that, it's on them.
It's all on them, yeah, so.
Okay, that's a question.
And you don't use it for everything, do you? On every?
No, we don't, we only use
There's
them
a
one
whole lot of
time.
runs,
Oh,
I know
yeah.
you'll do.
No, we do everything local,
Actually, yeah,
yeah.
Friday, we're going to Bettyville, Kentucky to get one, we do it ourselves.
Yeah, anything that we can get down and back in one day,
Yeah.
we try to do, but if it's multiple days, then really it only makes sense economically
Yeah.
to use somebody.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the money's vacation?
Yeah, yeah. But, I just wanted to bring it up to you guys because I'm gonna mention that to the council too, and I was gonna see if you guys was okay with it. If you wasn't, I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying, really bring it up, so.
We, I don't know if we have to sign a contract on that too or not.
I think you probably will.
So how often would you think that,
This is the first time in 2 years we've ever done it.
okay,
The only time we would do it would be like, say, if it, like Florida, Las Vegas, an overnight trip probably would probably determine it.
Yeah.
I wonder if any of that would fall under the prosecutor funds, because he's the one asking for that to happen.
I'm curious about that myself, actually.
Well, here, I can tell you this, because I tried that. And Chris sent me a note back.
Sorry.
He said, yeah, he said, I don't think this is ours. We have never had to pay anything like this before. I believe transporting inmates and extradition falls under the sheriff, kinda like sorry, you know what I'm saying?
You could say, sorry, I don't.
But he
know.
did say
Yeah.
thank. He did say thank.
You did, yes, he did, yeah, he did. So it was all in jest, you know what I'm saying, in
I'm
good
sure he
humor.
said thank you.
Yeah.
I would say that the council probably would make that a line item, so.
Yeah, I would think that you would have
That's something you
good
gotta
reasoning
do.
there for council to create a line item in your budget and move some money into that, be for special transport probably or something,
Okay.
they might call it.
Okay, yeah, all
Special
righty.
service transport or something.
Good deal, good deal. Last thing I've got is Douglas. I gotta bring back up for this one, boys.
I knew it was coming.
What'd he do now?
Yeah. Okay, and this is my last thing.
He's been known.
Yeah. We are getting actually inundated for requests of picking up garbage, mowing, and all this kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying?
I'm
And
getting
it's
killed with it.
legitimate, it's
Yeah.
legitimate.
Yeah.
The only problem that we have is we've only got one jailer that we can send out. I've got 200 guys, but I've only got one jailer, so we can only send out 5 or 6 guys at a time. But we've got a designated mowing crews, we've made an agreement, you know what I'm saying, with you all that we'll take care of the county stuff, you know, that's what we do, free of charge. So, and then we've got some other like nonprofit, like CASA we do, we mow for CASA, and just nonprofit organizations we do for. But if we had a second jailer that we could proposition the council to give us the money on, it would probably be about $20,000 a year is all it would be. That is a minimum amount of money compared to we could pick up every piece of trash in this county. You know what I'm saying? And other jobs.
For what it's worth, I talked to Judge Mount about trying to get the corrections back going on that again.
Mhm.
And he says, whatever we wanna do, right here.
Well, that's changed.
Well, that's what he told me,
Mhm.
and he said that's really our decision, unless he takes it over, which they haven't yet. And he says they got 4 people over there, and apparently they make their own money, and, I'm not against hiring somebody, I just think if we've got something there, and we can use
The
it.
community corrections.
I don't know why they quit it, to be honest with you, you guys understand it?
Yeah, I do. We
Okay.
got a director that, over there that
Yeah.
resigned, but before he resigned, he just decided on his own he wasn't gonna do it anymore. And
Yeah.
there was no record keeping of who was doing the community service
I
and
see.
who wasn't, and it was a big shambles. So he just quit. That's why the mowing went away, and no one was being held to their community corrections, requirements from the state or from the county here.
Well,
So-
he did tell me to get with the prosecutor. He said it would be more the prosecutor having them out than it would him. Put it out on bond, he'd have to agree to it.
Well, and sometime in a plea, whenever they do a plea to do their sentencing, that may be part of their sentencing, just do community service.
Yeah,
That was part of how they done that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But they just quit
I
doing
just-
it.
Yeah,
I mean, right now, they do a good job, but they're basically checking, people at home. And,
here's my only problem with going back with community corrections. Of course, you guys want to do something, do
Yeah.
But it's like this week, you don't know if you're gonna have 3 people signed up to mow next week you could have 15 people that wants to come in and pick up garbage. There's no steady, like you can't plan every Wednesday to mow the courthouse lawn, or, you know what I'm saying, the steady.
I agree with that.
It's
and-
free. I like that
But
part about
again,
it.
I think that's how the program was ran, that, and.
That could
and
change.
David sat here and goes, well, you know, I don't know who I'm gonna get. First of all, they're under court order to be there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if Johnny's got a baseball game, then you're not gonna be there, you're gonna be here.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're gonna be back in jail. I mean, so I just thought it was ran, you know, not up to standards, and.
Let me suggest this, let's get with the prosecutor, I will, you can, I don't care, and see if we can get that going again and make it effective. If not, then we can come back to it.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I'd say the reason why I was asking that too is the city of Austin and Scottsburg have both asked for me to send prisoners over. And I thought about asking them, because we think we can do, you say how much, Doug, for about 20,000, 25,000,
Yeah, 2025.
what it would cost for all the way through till snow flies, you know what I'm saying? So we thought if I went to Austin and said, hey, listen, can you give
Pony up
us
some money.
10,000? And then Scottsburg give us 10,000, we had 20,000. We'd have that second crew, and we could designate that second crew to Austin and Scottsburg, where we could have our other mowing crew. Does that make sense? Throughout the county.
Could we, I was looking at this one anyway, and this, a lot of counties have their own adopt a county road type thing. Can we not do that and have some civic organizations?
Good luck.
Yeah.
I mean, they do it. We had it here several years ago.
Last year, there was some youth had a challenge, they'd
Yeah.
go pick up their road and they'd take pictures and put
I
it on
think they're doing it
Facebook
now.
and challenge people to clean up another road, so, I think that could happen, but, that's gonna happen on a hit and miss type of thing, and probably once or twice a year maybe.
That's, well, the ones I've looked at, they go for 4 times a year, but once in the spring, once in the fall is what they generally get.
Yeah.
And it's a civic minded thing. There's people out doing it now.
Yeah, there are
I've
people
gone out
doing
to
it.
dump sites and there's people coming in with big loads of trash and bring it in.
There's people doing it on their own.
And I think there's
I think
people
some
wanting to
families
do it.
even got together. I think you did your family, you know what I'm saying, that did that, so.
Yeah.
But the problem of it is just consistency, like you said, you know what I'm
I
saying?
agree with that.
There are some people that's really doing a good job
But
with it.
just
so.
what, now this is just me talking,
Mhm.
just, I think it got worse the day that quit over there. I
Oh,
noticed
yeah.
it more this year than I ever have. I mean, I'm getting called regularly, and it ain't just trash on the road, it's mattresses, washers and dryers. And I got one last week, the guys, our highway department's been great, by the way.
Yeah, they
picking
have.
that stuff up. What was, we had up top of we really should have had DNR do it, but we had a whole, all that vinyl siding, I mean, you had to have your big truck to get it all.
Yeah, man, take that.
Well, and what we've done is we've been able to work well, that's what works so good, because we contact county highway and they're there with us, we put the garbage out and
They do
they
great.
pick it up, so they do a good job, that's just another way why it works so well too, so.
Well,
But what do you guys think?
I think if, first of all, if John wants to speak to Chris and find out, or I will, or both of us, or whatever, and
Yeah.
see what his thoughts are. But that's gonna take a while to get that program up and going, and so if you reach out to the 2 cities and see what, you know, if they wanna get an agreement, I don't see why we couldn't, you know, pony in some money as well, and just have a, you know, a 3-way, you know, MOU with them to do it, because, you know as well as I do, you know, people from outside the community, they're not gonna move in here if they see trash everywhere, and quite honestly, I know I talked with Terry about the entrance ramps and everything in Scottsburg, and I know Austin's the same way, is making sure those things are tidy and mowed and cleaned, and I've reached out to the state 4 years ago, and they're like, you can't be out there, because we were gonna go mow, and they go, you can't be out there. Well, Terry talked to somebody from the State House, and they said that, they asked him, I guess, what can we do for you? And he goes, well, you can give me authority to go out there and mow the banks and everything out there. And they said, go right ahead. So, so anyway, the city of Scottsburg's gonna take care of theirs. So again, people get off the interstate, you know, the first impressions is,
Yeah,
hey, I'm
it
gonna
was.
eat here, stay here, and I might move here, so. So anyway, yes, I think any way we can pick the trash up or whatever, I think we need to, so.
And we've got, I think, April 27th, the start of Earth Day, Earth Week, whatever that, so. we, not just me, Diane Mullins and myself have been taking hard looks at that. I think the Southeastern District's gonna put some stuff in your paper, Marty. They put something every so often about. There's some, I mean, we just need to work on that and let everybody know we can.
The one thing I
People out there
wanted,
volunteering, we ought to promote them for it.
yeah, I agree with that, yeah. And the one thing I wanted to ask to get your guys' approval is, if I can get your good blessing on this, because we're talking, if I can go to the council this next Tuesday, we can get it going. If not, see, it's gonna be another month, and then it could be another month, because it could be so long. So if I could just get a blessing, if you don't want to, it's no big deal, just say no, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
But
I
if
want it, I just want to do it the cheapest way we can do it.
Absolutely.
And I like the idea of community involvement,
Mhm.
public service.
Logistically, what are we talking about is, when he gets, snow starts flying, what happens?
Well, the projects run out.
Yeah, but I mean, what happens to the other jail commander?
It's part-time, so he
Okay.
just don't come in.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's at need.
Well, it'd be ours, if he works in the jail, it'd be out of our salary. This would just be out of the,
Yeah, we can just tell them all they gotta do is just add
Pay for
20,000
grant.
to our
Some of it is,
budget,
yes.
part-time
I mean, I remember
budget, and that was covered.
estimated grant, yeah.
I think we can get the county and the Star City.
Well, whatever we gotta do to get it cleaned up, I'm for it, whether you go one way or the other.
Well, if you can, if you'll give me the authority to talk to Austin and Scottsburg about it, I'll, you know what I'm saying, I'll be more happy. They may say, heck, yeah, it's worth that to us,
Oh, yeah.
you know, to be able to have some crew there, so.
Well, I know the city, used to have prisoners coming in here
Mm-hmm.
and doing that too, but I don't think they've done that.
I think they quit doing it, they used to come out of Edinburgh when they closed Henry River.
So,
And I think they have to pay for those too,
they
so.
do pay, they pay for the guard.
Yeah.
The guard, okay.
Yeah.
That's basically what we would be doing, and everything else is free, so.
You're gonna be paying him hourly, right?
Mhm.
So if we get something lined up like that, then we can let him go early, I mean, if we have to.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
But I think, move on it.
I think if you get the two cities to chip in something, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even if you get that, I think we'll still pursue getting
Oh, yeah.
corrections.
Oh,
Yeah, okay, I-
That's what I'm saying.
That's
That's
gonna
what-
be, that's gonna take 6 months to get that
Yeah.
steamboat
And
rolling.
if you get that up and flying, then,
And both going.
Cause they'll have to have all the equipment and everything again, see, cause they got rid of all their equipment and all that, so.
Yeah.
But,
Well, there's more to community service than just mowing and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys can continue to do the mowing thing, we'll have them do something else.
You
yeah,
know, and I don't know, I assume you're doing this, well, I know you are. And we talk about public health anymore, it ain't just reaching down and grabbing stuff in these ditches anymore. There's so much different things we know they have to be careful of, so we'd have to have some kind of a safety course, we had public involved in any way, to make sure they don't grab a needle or
Yeah.
broken glass or something.
Wow.
That goes on, doesn't it?
What you talking about?
Well, anyway, I mean, I like that idea, but if we end up going that route, we'd have to take a hard look at how we're gonna have them out there.
okay. Just give me the blessing to talk to Austin and Scottsburg, or if you guys wanna talk to them, if it doesn't matter.
Just go ahead, you're.
Okay.
motion.
If Austin and Scottsburg, I mean, add this to the motion if you don't care. If Austin and Scottsburg says okay, then we're good. But if Austin and Scottsburg says, no, we can't, we ain't got it in our budget, would you feel comfortable me going to the council and saying that I have the endorsement of the commissioners to ask for the money?
I have,
And if they don't give it, it's no big deal.
I understand what John's saying with the community corrections, but that could be in addition to what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
If we had-
absolutely.
If we had both of you going, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still.
A lot of
under
stuff.
the- They're still under the guidelines of the court system, which yours are too, so. So, yeah, Randy makes a motion, I mean, John
I'll make a motion.
seconded, and I'll make it unanimous, so.
Okay, good deal.
So is that all you got?
That was it,
Oh,
brother.
you got one more thing.
Okay.
Didn't you say you had a big eyesore over there you were trying to?
Yeah, that's
figure
right, I
out?
forgot about that, yeah. The
Yeah.
tower, I forgot about that.
The Leaning Tower piece?
Yes, that's it. So it's actually the bird haven of Scott County.
Well,
So-
can't you do some target practice out there?
Well, you know, it's, Scottsburg City might get mad at that because of ordinance, you know.
I remember when that was done, Marty will too.
But, if you guys will give me permission to just get some bids on taking it down.
Get some bids, cause they're.
Yeah, Jeffrey, yeah.
Found out that your Patty's 800 radio was hooked to that tower.
It is? Okay, well, that
So you'll
changes
have
things a
to
bit.
find find another site to put her antenna off that tower.
Well, I think what we can do is we can just put it on the building.
Yeah. Because if you take that tower down,
Mhm.
you'll lose her 800 radio now.
See, I think they told us they changed that already, that they moved that antenna when they went to low band, they moved the low band and that one too, but it's no big deal. It's just a minimal
I
thing.
might check into it, because I talked to Andrew.
I will. Yep.
That's what he said.
Good deal, okay, we'll check into that
Get some
then.
quotes.
Oh, yeah.
Taking that down, so
Okay.
I'm sure it'll have to be a crane, so.
Yeah, I don't see nobody wanna climb that, man.
You might talk to Lloyd Brown, he might take it
Yeah, he
down.
could, yeah, he could.
Talk to Maxie.
But I tell you this, like I said, if either you guys three wanna climb that thing at the top, start unbolting it, let me know, get started.
I've done it.
No, I know you have, haven't you? Yeah, that's right, you have with those water tires. So,
I wouldn't be up there, I'll get about 10 feet off the ground, I'll get that bolt.
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, drop them down to me, that's what I'd say. I'd be like, drop them down to me. So,
Got an inmate?
yeah, yeah,
Well, if you're man enough to catch them, you're man enough to climb them.
Alright,
that's all I got. You guys, anything for me?
nope.
We'll go
What
ahead.
about the, did you do anything with Wendy other than the boarding it up, or did you find anything?
Oh, yeah, Doug sent,
took care of that, yeah.
that and boarded it up.
Actually, I called Josh too, and I said, hey, that thing fell out over there. So yeah, I didn't know what you were talking about at first. and-
Yes,
Yeah.
It's boarded up.
actually, you guys probably ought to do something with that building. I mean, I know it's, what do you do, you know, I guess is it historical building or?
I don't know if it's
It
the
is.
oldest church in Scottsville.
It's
It is.
historical.
Yeah.
Okay, so
You're saying no?
No.
it's not?
I thought it
Not
was.
historical?
It has never been placed
Designated.
on any historical preservation.
I thought it had been.
Well,
Yeah.
it's the downtown historical district, they've got it on their list, but I don't know if it's on anything bigger than just the Scottsboro
Right.
Cities
Because the
downtown.
museum is on the national
I've got,
preservation list.
yeah, an
We
email
would,
that's got the picture of the building, you know, that it was part of the,
Yeah.
because the historical district downtown runs, I think, from Cherry Street, maybe to Estill, over past this First or Second Street, and then over to Railroad. And anything inside that district technically is supposed to go before the Historical Society and be approved for modifications because they want the facade and whatnot to still look like what it is. Whatever you do on the inside, I think is okay, but they want the exterior to remain with its integrity.
I would be in favor of taking a hard look at it, just for, not only the historical, but we're gonna be needing space as time goes on, or you will, or whatever. I think we're talking a pretty good chunk of money, just restore that thing. I know you've had somebody look at it.
Yeah, we had some estimates. We was gonna try to redo it with that with her Curtis Hills grant, but of course he got, you know what I'm saying, he got removed, so we wasn't able to follow through, yeah,
Yeah.
so,
So,
That's
yeah, I wanna
why.
look at it.
I didn't know it was
Yeah.
his because of him.
yeah.
I knew you were talking about a grant, but I didn't know it was his grant,
Mhm.
so. I know I don't like it sitting there empty, cause anything that's not, doors aren't open daily and moved around, things tend to deteriorate, so. We probably need to figure out what we wanna do with that and whether it's remodel it, have it for office space, or remodel it and just leave it open for a community center or something that anybody within, you know, if they have a special court or something, they could, you guys have something going on that maybe somebody could utilize it, so,
We could use it for meeting room, like a,
Well, I feel.
you know what I'm
That's
saying,
what
for
I'm-
training stuff like that.
yeah.
I feel certain the judge is gonna start approaching before too long among space.
Well, I guess going
There.
along with that, whatever happened with, the money we spent for a architect to come up with some sort of, I mean, they take the money.
He's got it
around.
upstairs, no, he's got it upstairs. It didn't come to us.
So, I mean, we're the one paid for it, so I mean, if we would like to see what it looks like.
He got it upstairs when we look at it.
To make a long story short on my end, of course, that you guys have been, but what I'm trying to say is if you want us to help, I got the labor, you see what I'm saying? We can do what we can to help out too,
Yeah.
we'll save, hopefully, you know, if you.
I wanna, personally, I mean, we're gonna talk about this, but we need to move on it pretty quick if we're gonna do something.
Because there's
Just 'cause I
shingles
know
are removed
space
from the
is
roof.
needed Soon.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know it is. and
Right,
Whether there's other places in this courthouse that want to move some people around, and that would be a prime place.
it's right there.
Yeah, so I don't know where we need to go with this on the next step, but I mean, do we want to you've had some people throw some figures out. And we have to decide whether it's worth it or not. And of course, we'd have to go to council too.
Right,
So I know we talk about things, but if we're not careful, we'll talk this into a year from now.
yeah.
And,
That's what a county,
yeah,
Government
government, county
runs.
government,
slower than molasses.
I can tell you this, the people that looked at it, whenever we said we had to remodel it because it was historical,
Yeah.
they looked at us and said, are you kidding? And they said, oh, you're right, because it'd be more expensive remodeling it, obviously, you know what I'm saying, than it is to tear it down and build a new one if you wanted to, so,
yeah.
because all the stuff was in it, so.
Well, we need to look at that. First of all, we need to see if it is historical on some marker where we're not gonna get our head ripped off for tearing it down. And then I guess if it's not, then we need to decide, is the option to remodel versus tearing it down and having a parking lot, so.
Yeah, well, yeah, or rebuilding something else there, but, yeah, even the cost of tearing it down wouldn't be cheap.
No, I mean, it wouldn't be that bad, though, I think probably get it for about, probably, you know, maybe to 10, probably at the most.
Well, when that tower comes down, we can just let it go across. And
Yeah, just make sure you get the insurance on it first. Yeah. So, I hope Richie don't watch these meetings.
Well, I know you was looking at it last year.
Yeah, we can
You want
use
new
it.
Space over there for it.
Yeah, we can use it, but we just don't have the money to do anything with it. We was banking on that grant, so.
I think we're talking 150, 200,000.
It was 151,000 just for the basics on it. That was without any new walls or anything like that. It was just going in and doing the basics on it.
151,000.
To remodel it. That was just for the flooring, AC unit, new roof,
probably
and
upgrade
bathrooms.
that
How long?
Last year, would have probably been last, June.
Yeah.
Yeah, May or June. Yeah, last May or June. It's probably doubled since now, probably because of the
Yeah,
lumber
I was gonna say
prices.
you're-
Well,
Never thought of that.
materials are sky high.
Yeah, it's going up, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can use it for parking, and we can use it for classrooms, it's whatever you guys wanna do, just let me know whatever we can do to help, you know, we're right there to
First of all,
help you,
see
so.
If it's on the registry,
Or at least on Scottsburg. You sure it's on Scottsburg? Or they have to,
That, you know those markers that they have with those 10 cutouts that says downtown district, historical district or whatever? Where those markers are at is the parameters, and then there is that association or whatever that has, I'll call it jurisdiction. whatever you wanna say.
Preservation.
Then-
No, I think you're talking about the Scottsburg Historical Review Board.
Yes, yeah, that's, thank you. I couldn't.
you can check that, can't you?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
All right.
And I inquired about
Sounds
that
good.
many years ago, back when Dan was looking, had eyes on that building. And I was given an email with a picture and whatnot, and I probably still have it in my email archives. I could probably go.
If you
pull it
need
up.
anything,
If
just call
find
me,
it,
I can
I'll
go, we can
forward it to
retake
you
pictures
if I
inside
find
and
it.
out, or whatever you need, so.
Okay, all
Matter
right.
of fact, we can probably go in there and take pictures inside out, unless you guys just wanna tour it, and we can send you an email of what it looks like, if you want us to do that or not.
the last time I was in there was
I'd
one
like to
of
look at it.
Just come over anytime,
Okay.
we'll take you through there, I can email you, whatever you wanna do, so it's no big deal.
Yeah, I'd like to look at it.
Just
Lay eyes
stop there and
on
knock
that.
on the door, and we got the keys right there, so.
All right,
the
thank
last time I was in.
Appreciate
You might till over when you go in there.
NASCAR
Yeah, full of NASCAR stuff, yeah, yeah,
It's pretty rough, yeah.
yeah,
Well, the floor of the stadium.
yeah.
Well, that all needs to come out, cause it was a church and it's all on a slope.
I think there's a basement in that too, isn't
No,
No.
there? No basement?
no,
There's an upstairs with
Yeah.
that's a ceiling, it's about 5 foot tall,
Yeah.
the ceiling is, it's real short.
Well,
Right.
one way or the other, we gotta agree to move on.
Yeah, something needs to happen, but you just guys just let me know. All right?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys. If you need anything, give me a holler.
Yep.
Take care.
Temporary restriction and closure of county highway ordinance floodwater, 2021-008, the second reading. Do I need to read that again? Or do-
You can read by title only.
All right, I'm reading it for title only. Ordinance, this is the second reading of ordinance number 2021-008. And this is a ordinance, temporary restrictions and closure of county highways, ordinance of the Scott County, Indiana shall be amended. So be read. All right, let's move on. Health Department.
You have to take a vote.
All right, second reading, do I have a motion to adopt the second reading?
Yes, I'll make a motion.
Yeah.
I'll make that unanimous. John made a motion, Randy seconded, and I made it unanimous, so.
Now, if you'd like to, you can also make a motion, one of you can make a motion to,
Pass the,
do the third reading, since there was no opposition on the first and second readings. You can do the third reading tonight as well.
I know who our new attorney's gonna be.
Well, what is it exactly?
I can't hear you.
What is it exactly?
It's where if you drive out in high water on Boatman Road or Crowsville Road and we have to come get you, you're gonna get a fine.
We have it closed, yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Read it the third time.
I'll make a motion, I think what Marty said was to
Third
pass
time.
it on the third reading, because we can't.
No, come on, help me,
You
Annie.
can you pass it on the second reading?
You pass it on the second reading, and then you take a vote on that, and then you take a vote to,
Go ahead and read it the third time.
go ahead and read it.
Because
a
there
third
wasn't any
time.
opposition.
Since there being no opposition,
Right.
the first and second reading, you move to go ahead and conduct your third reading.
Right, and then you conduct your
Does that
third
make
reading.
sense?
All right, I'll take a motion to read this ordinance 2021-008, temporary restriction and closure of county highways ordinance, Scott County, to, I guess, accelerate to the third reading, and I'll take a motion to accept that. So John made a motion, Randy seconds the motion, I'll make that unanimous, so.
Now take your third, now take another vote to approve it on this third reading.
So now, by our attorney, I'm going to ask for a motion for the third reading of ordinance 2021-008.
I think this is the fourth time we've had this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing, I'll make a
It's like
motion.
Groundhog Day. John makes a motion, Randy seconds it, and I'll make that unanimous, so heary, ordinance 2021-008 shall be law.
In effect, 30 days from the from the first time that it is published legally.
So 30 days from publication date would be 30 days from March the 24th. So April the 23rd, it would
Okay.
probably then be legal.
Hopefully we don't have any high water till then.
Okay. All right,
So be it read.
and then I'll get you guys to sign later.
Actually, I've got one right here.
And I've got one dated the 7th,
You need one, you need two.
and this one I'll let you sign it into. Randy.
Put your John Henry on there.
That's losing me, dang it.
All right. Since that was the second, and third reading. Health Department update.
Alright. You guys should have some stuff in your packets about some properties. Tammy, you made
Yeah,
copies of that.
I actually looked those up because I was trying to figure out what you were doing and I was like, holy moly.
Yeah,
I've actually was at the fire on the one
okay.
and surprised that you built it back, but,
Well, I wouldn't say built it back, but,
well,
yeah.
put a roof back on the
Yeah,
walls.
yeah.
The other one, I drove past probably 1,000,000 times in my life and never thought somebody was living there, so.
And it's not necessarily people are living there. Well, one of the properties, law enforcement is having an issue with it, so they asked us to look into it, and then after, looking at our ordinance and what was happening out there, these two properties, we feel like are inhabitable. In the past, what I've done is I've just worked with Bob Houston directly. What they usually do is send a letter out on their legal letterhead that's certified to the property owner. Sometimes that's the person physically living there, sometimes that address is another place. And then we can move forward with actually tearing it down and then charging that back to the property owner when they pay their taxes. Since we have new people on the board, I wasn't really sure where the county attorney thing stood. I wanted to bring it.
Bob's still our attorney right
Okay.
now.
So I just wanted to, see exactly how you guys wanted to proceed.
I guess my
with it.
question is, I'll ask our counsel here.
Fine.
When you send them a letter stating that the house is condemned or whatever, that's just a letter. Isn't there a legal process that you have to go to court, have a judge declare that condemned or whatever?
I don't believe so. I could be wrong, but there's only been a
Our counsel.
handful.
Yeah, well, the city of Scottsburg has already gone through this a
Well,
couple of
well,
times.
The house that we were
city-
talking about, that you and I talked about once before in the
Yeah.
city, that's what happened there. They did the paperwork stuff.
I think it's different if someone's actually living there,
Okay.
like where, cause like.
But you're talking about with the health department, you're talking about rodents, bugs, trash, something that
Usually it's like
could.
no running water,
No, I mean,
sanitation,
but, yeah,
things that cause the
sanitation type
public
of
health
problem.
issues.
Are the owners of the property not wanting to do anything? or-
One of them is currently incarcerated and
Oh,
has
yeah,
said
that's a
that,
problem.
he has no concern about what really happens. And then the other one, I'm not really sure. It's been like that for years, like you said, so.
I know, I just, go ahead, Marty. get ready.
Well, we have had complaints about both of these,
Mhm.
and of course, in both cases, I believe, fire. The gentleman on East Lovers Lane attempted to build the house back himself,
Mhm.
and Ben went out there and put a stop work order on it. Then unfortunately, that gentleman got arrested, and, we just got a complaint yesterday, that there was someone out there living in a camper,
Mhm.
that there was still trash everywhere, and that somebody was trying to rebuild that house.
I know, I drive past there,
Yeah,
Okay.
I know what you're talking about there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
But I didn't know if the owners just.
I mean, I think
Is
the
it out of their
legal,
hands if you
the
go?
legal order will have like a certain time frame, and usually it's like 2 weeks, to take
Okay.
action or make contact with us, and then,
If nothing else, you can.
right.
The only thing I would warn against is making sure that legally we have the right to tear something down, because I'd hate to be building somebody's house back,
Right.
you know?
Like I said, there's only been maybe 1 or 2 since I've been here that we've actually done, and they were like trailers without walls and
Yeah.
mobile homes and things like that. But again, we work with Houston's office and get that
Yeah.
taken care of, so.
Sounds good.
So what do you need from us? Just need us to let you
Like I
value the
said,
procedure?
since this was kind of a newer board, and I didn't know if I should still be going to Houston, just to proceed with the next steps, I guess. And I don't know if they need a vote or just a consensus. Yeah.
I guess probably a motion would be better.
A
for the two
motion for
properties.
her to proceed?
I'll second it.
Oh, okay.
Is
I'm
this
correct.
official condemning the property?
Is it unhabitable dwelling? Is that what that letter says?
It says, I'll read it here. I won't put the address, but,
Yeah. Or just the ordinance number? I know it's 2008.
Ordinance, Scott County ordinance number is 2008-7. The following sections apply to this site. Building is a hazard to public health, the building is a public nuisance, and the building is vacated, not maintained or in a manner that would allow human habitation, occupancy, or use under the requirements of any state or statute or ordinance. And then the last one here is section H18, the building has been damaged by fire, wind, earthquake, or flood, has been so dilapidated or deteriorated so as become, one, an attractive nuisance to children, or two, freely accessible to persons to purpose of committing unlawful acts. And actually, the second property only has 2 of those 4. And it's H3, section H3. Building is a hazard to public health, and the other one is about the damage, being damaged by fire, so. And, there's pictures on the back of the 2 residents, so I think John made a motion, Randy seconded, I'll make that unanimous to, follow the proper legal, ramifications to, I guess, tear them down or whatever we gotta do. I just-
Okay.
Did I understand right, the cost goes to on their taxes?
Yeah, just like when we do mowing or trash,
Yeah.
pickup, same thing.
So we will pay them, and but it goes on their taxes. I assume they will tear it down, not gonna wait on it.
Right,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then there's normal procedures on recovering the taxes.
Yeah, and then I'll, keep you guys updated on what Houston says.
I have a question, I mean, were these complaints that were filed about these two
Yeah.
properties?
Mostly,
Because I've had other people question me about properties that are in this shape or worse, and I kinda always wonder how, you know, like most things, you can complain, but until you file a legal or a complaint, not just
Right.
verbally complain about something, but
Right.
until you file something that says, hey, this property at this address is X, Y, Z,
right,
we can't do anything.
right.
And then sometimes we can't do anything anyway. It has to be something like use public health, if it's unoccupied and there's rats and everything running out of it, then yes, I mean,
Right,
trash and stuff like that, that would, be a habitat for varmints and everything else, but,
yeah.
and then the worst case scenario is you have people that are occupying, an unsatisfactory living quarters and doing illegal stuff inside, so,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, it could probably be a full-time job for somebody to just drive around Scott County and figure out which buildings
I can tell you
fall
where
under
they're
this
at.
ordinance,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, so mostly they're complaints, yeah, and like I said, one of them, law enforcement, you know,
Okay.
asked us to assist them with that, so.
So I guess we're gonna give you the authority to reach out to our attorneys and,
Okay.
continue.
Sounds good.
What else you got?
So I came to you guys a few months ago about a policy to pay, overtime for health department employees, pertaining to COVID vaccines. That is set to expire at the end of this month, so I would just like to do an extension to that of July 31st. Just because I know I'm gonna have at least one clinic in May. And again, since we do 18 and older now, most of those people can't come between 8 and 4 and get a vaccine because they're working too. So, we'll be having more weekend and after hours clinics, so, just to extend that policy. I think so far I've spent a little over like 6,000 on overtime costs, so I still have plenty of that 40,000 left.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is coming from a grant, so it's, yeah.
Right. No
Also with that, I'm sorry, go ahead, John.
If you use it, you don't lose it, you use it, or?
Yeah, I mean, it kinda just sits there, and so we could buy immunization supplies with it, but
Yeah,
either way, we would be working, and so I would like to.
Spin off of that, how many vaccinated people do we have in Scott County?
So fully vaccinated, I looked this morning, we had, just over 4,000. We provided just shy of 7,000 vaccines. And so that includes first and second doses of Moderna. So we've vaccinated quite a few people. Over the next 3 days, we'll do about 1,300 more shots.
I went through the other day, and you guys were busy.
We were.
Kevin
I mean,
was-
it was backed up.
Yeah,
Kevin was telling me that that's only 15% of the population in Scott County?
yeah, it's probably, the 4,000 is probably a little bit closer to like 17, but yeah.
So do we, I guess, are we having input or people, you know, more people calling, trying to get the shots than,
So without, if you took away the Saturday clinic that we have coming up, we were booked out until April 22nd before that. So we still have a lot of interest. Finally have a good amount of Johnson & Johnson, so we're having that clinic next weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Hoping to vaccinate 1,000 people with that, so.
I guess my question would be, from the state, are we getting enough supply?
Yeah, I mean, as much as we can do with what we, you know, the staff that we have. So,
Okay.
I don't think many health departments our size are vaccinating or scheduling 780 shots a week on a standard, like that's our standard, that's how many spots we have open.
I guess where I was getting at was, are you having problems getting the vaccine?
Just with Johnson & Johnson, and then we just got 2,100 doses on Monday, so Up until Monday, we were having some issues with Johnson & Johnson, so, but now that we have that. The only supplies that the state does not provide are gloves, so we do have to purchase those out of grant money, when we need more of those. Everything else, they provide syringes, we do have to purchase actually Band-Aids too, so.
You
Not
making
much.
somebody bleed?
I mean, just in case. They send 23 gauge needles, which are kind of big.
Are we still using the old health department?
Uh-huh,
Do you
yes.
have any idea how long?
So the funding right now goes through, and our contract with the hospital goes through at least the end of June. So, but the state is telling us that they expect to give like a funding extension on that.
So, okay, more than likely we'll be on those days.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so. Yeah, I think we'll still need testing.
Speaking of that, are they not doing anything at the armory anymore?
They should be, is what I was told. I have not been down there, but I think that ends at the end of this month, or it has not been extended past
Cause
April.
I thought that was part of the reason we went to the health department.
It was, yes, and then testing just was needed so much that the state kept the contract with
Okay,
Optum.
cause I was.
But they are in talks of finally doing away with that, just decrease in testing numbers, one, and I think that contract that they pay Optum's really expensive at the state level,
Yeah, it was several,
million,
yeah.
yeah.
So I was just curious, cause I saw some signage still up, and I'm like, I thought that was gone, I thought that had gone away, so.
Yeah, as of right now, it's only through the end of April, so. But
Okay,
their numbers have been down for testing, our numbers have been down for testing, and,
I was gonna say testing's down, the infections are up, is that correct?
I mean, infections are up, but they're not like
Going
where they
low.
used to be.
Yeah.
I mean, so we had 21, from the last Monday to Monday before that, the highest we'd had was like 14,
But I
so,
think we're having less people getting checked, aren't we?
yes.
Yeah, I think probably because of the vaccine people, I don't know why, but they,
I think just vaccine and, as spread limit, decreases, then you're gonna have less people who
okay.
feel like they need to get tested.
I always say, I don't
A
remember.
lot more people are getting tested though for like procedures and precautions and stuff like that too.
It's where my wife works, they said they're down, so I assume they would here.
Yeah,
too.
the whole state's been decreasing testing numbers.
Might be a false sense of security there, I think.
Yeah, yeah, but the good thing is that this time, this year, we have the rapid test so people can know in 15 minutes, whereas this time last year, it took you like a week to get a test back, so we're in a much better place than what we were.
You've done good.
Yeah,
I've been out there watched it, it's
thank you.
amazing.
My staff's awesome.
And the fire department was out there helping last week too.
Yes, they filled in because EMS, could not be on there, so yes, we
Yeah.
appreciated them being there, checking on people, so.
what else you got?
Yes, so I have a small grant, for just over $7,000. This is a federal program with this, government, so $7,154.28. Basically, they gave us 600 doses of Moderna to do this weekend on April 10th. That was the deadline, you had to do it by April 10th. You get $7,000, it's based on your population, is the number of doses you got and the funding you got. So if you agree to take the vaccine and do a clinic, then they'll give you this little bit of money. So again, that'll just go towards employee costs.
This is a state,
The state got it from the federal government, so
okay. So your motion to allow her to file the grant?
Yes.
I'll make motion.
So,
I'll make that unanimous. So you need me to sign this one?
yes, please. And then Tammy, do you want to keep that for the council next week? Okay, I'll give that
And
to you.
then, did you guys actually make a motion on the policy? I don't know. if
Oh, I
they
don't think you
actually
did.
Made a motion and approved the policy extension.
Yes, so the policy extension.
So,
To
do I hear
continue
him?
paying them through July 31st under the.
oh, on the,
Yeah.
For the
the
overtime.
grant, thing. Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I'll
Add
second.
that.
John makes a motion to extend the payment for the clinics, after hours and weekend, clinics for vaccinations, and Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous.
Thank you.
So, here's your,
Thanks. And then last thing, Randy has been helping us get some bids, for some heat in our bays, which I don't really know if we'll need that anymore for this season, but, maybe at the end of the year if we're still doing vaccines. So Tammy, you should have some bids for that.
For HVAC.
And cleaning up, some of the metal and different things that are in there.
Yeah, we didn't actually, I wasn't for sure who these belong, well,
Do they need to open them? Do I need to open them? How's that work?
did you actually advertise in the paper?
No, cause it won't be for 50,000.
It was under that amount,
For sure.
those can just be opened as quotes, and we can look
Quotes.
into them.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got the letter
What are we
over
doing
here
here?
from
I've lost
Sure.
this.
I'll get the mic.
Mike, if you don't mind, I'll have you sign that policy as well.
What are we doing? What is it?
So, this is just some quotes about putting some heat, what are they called, Randy?
2 heaters in the, radiant heaters. in
Yes,
the,
radiant heaters.
house
Look at that
apartments
other,
That
make
runs
sure I put the right
alongside where
date
they're,
on that.
putting in.
On that
Your
one.
glasses?
the
Oh,
shots.
and this one?
So that they
Okay.
have actual
Okay.
heat,
Oh,
No.
because right now they have a gas heater up above that, well, it's inadequate once, you know, it blows out, but it just goes out the door.
oh, yeah.
And then,
Well, actually, when you're doing these, I guess, these drive-throughs, are the doors open at every, for the whole entire thing?
yes, cause it's a non-stop line.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, cause
Well, then
sometimes you could have a.
We close them at lunch, but we're only there in lunch for like an
What
hour.
I was talking about was one of those air curtains
Right.
that you blow an air curtain and you drive through it and it keeps your heat in or whatever, and you just break the plane.
Like a car wash kind of thing.
No.
I don't know what you're talking
An
about.
air curtain.
Idea there.
An air curtain's like if you're in a freezer environment or a refrigerated warehouse,
Okay,
the forklift can drive through it. It's a air curtain.
Okay.
It's air, there's a box above the doorway that blows, you
okay.
know, circulated air. So whatever's hot out here or cold out here doesn't get in here, so.
Gotcha.
You go to McDonald's,
Yeah.
fast
sometimes.
food,
Yeah,
drive-through?
yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
you hear that thing above their window?
In the
Okay.
window they have it.
That's very
Okay.
annoying, that's what that is.
okay, that makes sense.
And it saves from the door opening, closing and,
Yeah.
and air coming in or out.
Gotcha.
So I don't know what the cost of those are. I mean, they can be pricey, but.
Isn't the issue those are vehicles, the fumes, if you close everything?
Yeah, so if you were to, I mean, some people turn their car off, they're in there long enough, some people aren't really in there long enough to turn their car off.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought that was part of the issue, fumes to close the doors.
Yeah, that's, I
One
mean,
car
and,
comes in, another one comes in, you still got fumes after.
Did you? I got a question about this heating
Yes.
thing. I just now thought of this. Is there not heat in there right now?
there is.
There is, but it's a gas, heater that's up above their office.
It's not the one that's got the pipe where it runs through?
No.
Well, see, in the other part of the building.
Right.
They have those.
Right.
So why can't we take those and put them over there?
Well, there's a brand new one that I'm sure the sheriff's department paid to put it in. And then, I can't remember who we talked with, but he said it's really old.
Yeah, it's, the heaters themselves are not all that much money. So by the time you tear it down and put it up,
Okay.
and you've got it open,
Yeah.
it's really not worth it.
Maybe we'll keep the birds out too.
We actually had Josh got with Royalty and did some work, so we have some nest outside, but so far, nothing on the inside yet.
So what do you wanna do with these bids?
Well, I guess, can you tell me how much they cost?
Actually, I'll read, let's see what this one is. Are these the same thing? These two the same too?
I have no idea, we just collected.
One
them.
is also for like metal tearing out, I don't know,
Yeah.
Randy, if you can describe that better.
Demoing out, stuff that they don't need in there, that make it look a little bit more like a health department and.
And a little bit
less
safer.
like a garage, and they've got a lot of.
I'm sure it's a good thing, but I'm sitting there thinking, it's getting warmer weather.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily know, I mean,
We just could
the
go
heat thing
on.
might be something to explore come like August, if we still are in this pattern and we know we're gonna be out there, you know, in the winter months again.
And we could very well be, so.
Yeah,
And if we're not talking agreeing on money.
Oh, we should buy hoods.
we did buy coats, they're all matching, but
Some hand warmers.
still really, we bought those too.
I locked two, and they were freezing to death.
Hey, come out to.
I don't doubt that, the timing is
Come out to
It's
a
probably
fire
good that
at
laugh.
10 o'clock or
Yeah.
10 degrees or something.
No, I know that first responder.
All right, anyway, I'm gonna read these. We have an estimate here from Miller Heating and Air from Austin. It says demo all existing air lines, grease lines, and gas lines, remove existing hangers. Heater in the garage bay only with all material plus labor, $600. To install Vantage tube, hanging heater tube with gas line, flue, hanging material, electric, thermostat, and all materials plus labor, $6,551.72 for a total of $71,51.72. There's a picture of the model that he was talking about.
So that one does include demo and heat?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so the second one here is from S&L Heating and Electric, also from Austin. Proposal 1 is a radiant tube heating system for the drive-through 60 by 30 area. Furnish and install the following: 1 radiant tube heater, 150,000 BTU input heating capacity, 30-foot radiant U-tube with deflector shield, total of 60 foot. Total located down the center of the space, north and south, thermostat, hanging material, flue vent, vented to the outside, black iron gas pipe extension from the existing gas line to the radiant heater tube, electrical circuit to the radiant heater, removing the unnecessary steel per request, 2 columns and 3 wall girts. That price is $5,945. He's got a second proposal: radiant panel heating system for the drive-through. It's 4 40,000 BTU radiant panel heaters located down the center of the space, thermostat, hanging material, black iron pipe, gas pipe extension, electrical circuit to the radiant heaters, no flue required, eliminating building penetration, allowing for panels to be relocated and repurposed if desired. Remove the unnecessary steel per request, 2 columns, 3 wall girts. That price is $5,350. Okay.
Any
That's,
demo on that?
actually, he talked about removing the unnecessary steel, the 2 columns and the 3 wall girts, and then, yes, on both prices has the end of it. All right, this bid is from Thomas Plastics, and looks like Thomas will supply and install 150,000 BTU U-tube heater. This will include the gas line, electrical, and thermostat. This will be installed in the west drive-through bay. The intake and exhaust pipe will be out the south wall, not the roof. This quote includes labor, material, and equipment. All work will be done during the week under normal business hours. Anything extra will be considered an add-on and will be billed accordingly. And this bid is for $8,955. So that was for the furnace install. This is for the demo. And also this is from Thomas Plastics as well. This is for demo only, looks like, and it's Thomas Plastics machinery will remove the utilities that are on the steel columns and the wall girts in the west drive-through bay of the garage, then remove and dispose the columns and the wall girts. This is open area for future use. This quote includes labor, material, and equipment. All work will be done during normal week. That bid is for $4,260. So that's the 4 bids, and actually one bid was for one bid from Thomas was for the demo, one bid was for the installation. So there you have it.
Is it do they have to decide who I go with, or is it just, how does that work?
It would be, since you just reached out for quotes and it's not the formal process of waiting. If they wanted to do the work or have that work looked at, then yes, they could move to do that, and then you could.
Are you using existing money here?
Yeah, so I'll probably use some of my grant money. money. to
The
pay
money
for it.
you've got, grant money, or you're
Yes,
not going
because
to
it can be
council?
tied back to vaccination.
Okay.
Do any of them give a timeline when they would be available to install?
Well, it says here, any work other than listed above, taxes, invoicing based on work to date and stored equipment. Proposal is good for 30 days. So-
Or, if we were to just X out the heater and like put a pause on that, do all of them have like that option in the quotes where you can just do the demo stuff? No, besides Thomas, cause they did.
Thomas
Separate.
split it.
Split.
Thomas has one for, just the demo, which is $4,260, and then $89.55 for the install. But they all look comparable as what they're,
Are they all buying the same pieces of equipment, or are we
No,
getting different, each one's buying their
I
company?
think, Ryan told me from SNL that there's basically only one company that makes those, and it's the same brand that's back there already at the sheriff's department.
So they
So I
would
think
be,
he said that, or him and Miller's, they use similar stuff, it would probably be the same,
okay,
similar.
that's what I'm trying to sort out, they're using the same thing.
He didn't. On the, proposal for SNL, they didn't give a brand, name or anything, but on Miller's, he did have a quote and
Vantage.
a picture of the unit.
Okay.
And also specs on the unit, so.
Will you be using this for anything else besides,
I
is
mean,
there
we
other
do our-
things we can use it for?
We do our childhood immunizations out of there, and then of course every
But I
fall.
mean, do we have to have the doors open for that,
Mm.
same thing? So it's
Yeah,
not
we
just-
usually do, unless it's really cold, then we just kinda just let one car in, close it, because we do like 15-minute time slots for them. And then every fall, we do our annual drive-through flu shot clinic, which we've had for years and years, used to do it at the fire station. But,
Okay.
Did SNL offer two alternatives, so to speak? Because I heard him read something about a tube
Yes.
system and a panel system. So I guess your first thing is, do you want to do it? The second thing is, which system do you want to go with? Because obviously if you want to go with the panel system, then SNL's the only one that gave a quote on a panel system. The rest of them are the tubes, right? Is that right?
Yeah,
I think there's still tubes, but I think the
But
panels.
what's
one
more
panel is
efficient?
cool.
the two.
More efficient? I don't know anything about them.
The only thing that worries me is that, I think the others kind of mentioned the gas and oil lines being taken out, and I don't know if that's specifically stated in, because that, like, there's that one line that just has the paper towel in it.
Yeah, right, and then that's,
But I don't know,
I
you would
think
have a
that
better
we
idea
should
than
probably-
I would.
I think we should probably look at, just the bid for the heating, right now, and the demo, revisit that, because I'm not sure you're comparing apples to apples, I'm not sure that that's a big price discrepancy.
Mhm.
So the, removing the 3 columns and the 3 wall girts, I mean,
And the oil lines.
you're talking about oil lines like where they changed oil in cars?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you've got airlines and stuff that's hanging down. There's angle iron and stuff that's on I-beams and sticking out.
What's your pleasure?
Well, on me, I don't know, I think you probably need this and everything, but I hate to vote on stuff I haven't had any knowledge on before this meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
And that always bothers me, whether it be you or anybody else,
Sure.
when somebody drops in and says, we need 8,000 or whatever. Although I see the need and the fact that it's a grant, the money's
Mhm.
already there, makes it easier for me to vote on it. So, I mean, I wanna do this, but I would prefer to know ahead of time on these things.
Sure, yeah,
So-
if you guys want
so
to table it,
you-
that's fine too.
you're saying grant money, I mean, so you're gonna utilize some of the $40,000 you got in the grant for the COVID
Mhm.
stuff to do this.
Yeah.
I'm like John, I'd like to look at it,
Okay.
cause I've been in that building
I
and,
know, you kind of like, when you look at it a million times, you don't really see it.
cause I'm like 2 columns and 3 walls, what
Yeah.
are you talking about? I
Yeah.
mean, so let's table it until our next meeting. I mean, I don't think you need heat.
I think we're good, hopefully, fingers
Hopefully
crossed.
we
I don't know,
will.
it did snow like, what, last week, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, we
April
have
Fool's. So,
Yeah, that's fine.
let's table it
And
until
then,
next one, I wanna go look at it too.
If you and
so.
John,
Yeah.
whenever, I would suggest maybe not a Thursday or Friday, because vaccine clinic all day, it's a
Okay.
little crazy back there, but any other day, just let me know.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm with you. Everything's good. I just haven't,
No,
it just kind of
completely
dropped in my
understand.
lap here and I'm like, okay.
Definitely.
you're not gonna want air conditioning too, are you?
Well, we talked about that, and Randy shut me down,
Why did you
so.
bring that up?
Well,
I tell you-
we had your something in place for that.
Oh, there's 4
The
big.
sheriff's department
Uh-huh.
has a portable air conditioning
No,
unit.
no, they don't, those are the counties.
Well, okay, yes. But, and then there's also the vacuum cools. I'm not sure.
No, actually, you're right, the sheriff department does have through the military,
Mhm.
a
Yes.
a portable air conditioner over here. We have those in the back that have the chillers,
Mhm.
I call them.
I don't know who's there, but they're sitting
They're
in the
big
back end.
counties, so
Yeah.
if you wanna roll one of those in there, or
Yeah.
2, or whatever, I
Yeah.
mean, those actually work pretty good, so
Yeah.
especially on a hot day, cause we've asked to have them taken to the fairgrounds, I don't know how many times for the fair, and they never seem to get down there, so.
Yeah,
But anyway, yes,
Well, that's the air conditioning thing.
yes. That
That's
answers your air
done.
conditioning question.
but I'm sure the sheriff would roll that air conditioning.
I'm sure if
unit
I
out
asked him, he
there.
would, yes, absolutely.
So anyway, all right, let's, do some research on the AC
Okay,
and, demoing, and we'll get back with you.
sounds good. Do you guys have any questions for me? I think that's all that was on my list.
No, I'm always impressed with what you do out there.
Thank you. Like I said, my staff works really, really hard. We take a lot of pride in trying to make it a good process, an easy process for people, so, yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, appreciate it. Let me find my agenda here. EMS update. That sounds like hee-haw, Jeff.
Find something to do today.
How's Shannon?
It's going. What about you?
All right.
First thing I want to give you, that's on the Narcan boxes for the community. There again, I'm not striving for them.
Actually, I'm kind of disappointed that, I'm not disappointed, go ahead, but,
The reason why I want to bring this to you guys' attention is because we are through the roof on overdoses. We're through the
yeah?
roof on overdoses.
I went to one
Now-
last night.
I know. So from March 3rd to December 31st, we were averaging 4.46 a day. For the first 90 days of this year, we're already at 2.46 of overdoses. Now that includes dispatch, billed, and refused transport. Michelle's given out 1,572 doses of Narcan per thing for the first 90 days of this year. So my point is, we're through the roof on the overdoses. There's no end in sight for it, so I'm just letting you know on this Narcan deal from the state. You guys do with the information that you want to do with. I know there's some business owners that have questions about it, and I'm not trying to disturb with them.
Oh, I'm not.
But we're gonna have to start looking at doing something else, because we have people at the BMV, we have people at Walmart, we've had people at JC's in parking lots with their kids in the cars, unresponsive, overdosed in the car with the kids.
What's the question? I haven't got that piece of paper.
What it is, and I asked the health department the last time we had a meeting, because I had read where the governor was going to put this program out there, where he's putting drop boxes, well, I don't know how they get distributed in the county, and it's obvious that they distributed 2 of them, one at a church in Austin and one at a church here in Scottsburg.
I don't know that.
Well, it's at Presbyterian Church at that recovery center. But the point of it is that they did it without letting anybody know they were doing it.
And I didn't know that they had anybody here.
Well, I
with
didn't
us.
either. I asked the health department the last time they were here saying, do you know anything about this? And she didn't know anything about it. And all of a sudden, so I don't know how the program or who's running the program outside the governor saying, hey, we're gonna do this Narcan box. And, you know, I guess you go break it open like you do anything else and take your Narcan.
Basically, if I'm getting this right, basically, just wanna make Narcan a lot more available to people.
Yeah, but I mean, my thing about it is, you know, here, I look at it like a fire alarm. If you have a fire, you run down the street and you break the alarm, sounds the alarm. If you're at your house and you're overdosing, you're gonna get in the car and drive to one of these locations, get a bottle of Narcan, or you just gonna every day go by there and break the glass or however you get into it and.
Right, and that's the reason why I'm bringing this to to your attention, because we talked about it before. The problem is, these people are now overdosing. Well, we've had some at Lake Iola. These guys are doing it during the broad daylight in front of everybody. Sometimes we're finding them with the needle still in their arms. So we're gonna have to really pay close attention to what we're doing when we respond to these places. We had a service call, we had a call 2 weeks ago in Austin. The guy was working on the AC unit. He come back in and found the lady unresponsive on the floor, not breathing. And it was because she'd overdosed on her medications.
Yeah.
So it's becoming more prevalent. You know, if we're at 246 and we're only, or 2.46 at this point in the first 90 days, we're gonna exceed the 4.46 by the end of the year.
Well,
And I know meth has dropped in price and everybody's gotten their checks. So we are seeing an increase because of that finance. And I'm not saying that that's,
I know, I'm with you.
but I'm just saying that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
You know, and we're having some issues.
Somebody's gonna have to explain to me how the needle exchange program's up again.
I don't have that information. I can't tell you. I'm not gonna venture into that right now.
I think they kept the, stabilized the, HIV, whatever, stabilized the growth of HIV. That's the.
I know that's the theory behind it, yeah.
The only thing I know for sure is that
It's just-
our Narcan we were paying $100 a box. We stopped getting it IV wise and got it from the health department while it was so high. Now that they've dropped it down to $30 a dose, we've started buying it again, and we've bought about, I ain't gonna lie to you, 100 doses just to keep us afloat.
So, are we talking about, I still ain't sure where we're going with this. Are we doing to use these boxes more, or we just having information passed to us?
I'm just letting you know that you guys got the information in front of you, so you start seeing these, you know what they are.
Okay.
But we were having still a massive issue with drug influx in the county.
My whole thing is, and I'm gonna keep this, cause
No, that's free.
I wanna know who's authorizing, and I know the governor's got this in his thing, but somebody needs to let, somebody know that they're
Right.
putting these in our county without just showing up and going, here's a box and.
Yeah, because I didn't know, like I said, that
I
they're
didn't-
even here.
I mean, I asked the health department, she didn't know anything about it, so.
We really need to get on the handle on, as you guys being the governing body of the county, you guys need to know what's
the
going
negative
on
of
with
these
it.
things, just that they're there?
There's nothing negative,
Yeah.
No.
I'm just saying that, I'm totally against the needles, I mean, I was against it from day one, but the
Narcan.
But the Narcan's a different story, I mean,
Yeah.
if somebody wants to, furnish Narcan to people that are addicts, then, that's not a drug, it is a drug, but it's not a drug that they're gonna get high on, or
Life-saving.
it's going to, reverse an opioid overdose. And I don't have a problem with that, but as long as we're not buying it. But I mean, the other part of that,
Somebody's going to supply these people with refurbishation,
well,
resupplying them, and where are they gonna get that eventually? It's gonna
but I
start
know at the
costing somebody.
fair, of course, we didn't have a fair last year, the fair, the year before, the health department was handing out Narcan. I mean, so, you can get a prescription for Narcan, and you can go to the pharmacy and get a Narcan, I mean, so it's readily available. I don't have a problem with Narcan, but I do have a problem with somebody bringing, a box that they're putting in our community.
Without telling.
Or saying, hey,
It's
here's what we're gonna do. When I ask the health department, they don't know a thing about it. That tells me that somebody, and sure, they probably went to, some addiction recovery programs and said, hey, we have this box, and they're probably saying, sure, bring it. Well, like I said, I don't have a problem with Narcan, I do have major problems with the needles, but, I just think these people should have, you know, stepped forward and said, hey,
I agree.
we're gonna drop 2 boxes in your county, and there might be more, but
But this is
also,
coming from the governor's office, correct?
Correct.
yeah,
They failed to notify us, and we have 2 boxes in our county somewhere,
yes, there's one at the Presbyterian Church
out here.
on,
Yeah.
on 56, and there's one in Austin at the church up there.
I think Thrive meets the Presbyterian, they probably know about it.
I don't know who's.
I don't know if anybody in the county that
It is
knows.
the Thrive, yeah.
Yeah, and where's the other one at, you say?
I think it's at, the,
H2O church.
yeah,
That's in Austin?
yes, they're on Church, I think.
I'm curious to see how many overdoses we would have without the safety net of the life.
Well, the thing about overdoses, and Jeff can probably attest to this, or Shannon can attest to this, I went to Jeff and called him drunk.
It's okay. It happens.
Daggers, I'm
But
telling you.
anyway, the thing about Narcan is that you don't know how many overdoses you're having anymore. Before, when someone overdosed, they'd call 911 and police, fire, EMS would show up, and there's a record of who they overdosed. They're having they're having Narcan parties now where somebody, just like a designated driver, doesn't do the drug that night, and if somebody dies, they save them. And
Sometimes they keep count, they'll usually make a mark, notch inside by their thumb and index finger of how many times.
I
they've
think it
been
just
involved.
leaves us in a terrible position, you know.
Well, that's
Darn
correct.
if you do, darn if you don't.
And the thing is with them having kids in the car now and at restaurants and
Yeah.
in the public, that's the problem, because now we're going out of being a cold season and these kids are in the car. Now we're going to a hot season with these kids in the car. We're going from a patient who's overdosed. How long has that kid been in there? Now we're gonna have fried kids on our hands.
well, I'm gonna say that the overdose last night that I went on, this cycle has came full circle. Came full circle with the people that were involved, because I actually, you know, Narcan, this kid's, I won't say it's his father, but it was a boyfriend of his mother's, a Narcan her, 2 of her friends, in the same week, Narcaned him the next week, and this kid was in the house, and the guy didn't survive.
Yeah, I've done 3 families.
So,
like
and
that.
now he last night overdosed. So full circle. So,
I agree.
so, anyway. I don't have a problem with the Narcan boxes, I do have a problem with them not telling us they were doing
Yeah, I
that.
agree with
And
that.
especially the health department didn't even know they were doing it, so, what else you got?
All right, so looked at our billing fees. So one of the things I wanted to bring to your attention, transportation of the deceased, and I'm not, since 1992, when I started EMS in Scott County, we've always charged $100. My proposal, and you guys can tell me if it's too high, whatever you want to do, basically, we're gonna charge them $350 for services, and there again, that's just for your guys' input, what you wanna do, you set the rates. And there again, set up on the parameters, we transport from the residents to the funeral home or morgue inside the county, we don't transport outside the county. And there again, that is pretty much what our protocol is for transportation. You guys all have that copy in front of you, so.
So you're saying from, I'm trying to,
I know back in 1992, when Jeff and I were on the truck, they were charging $100.
well, they still are,
I
but,
know.
so what you're saying is this, if you go to a scene and it's, you know, you're transporting, let me read this, transporting the deceased, from the residence to the county where, the coroner's office. So you, clarify again that you're talking from, if you go to a scene and determine the person is deceased,
Correct.
and you call the coroner says, is there anything, suspicious, you're saying, no, it's natural cause, and so then that time the family says, take the body to Buchanan's, Collins, Adams, Stewart's. You're at that time transporting the body to that funeral home, and the funeral home reimburses you.
Correct.
Okay, all right, so, but.
That
this
has
is-
nothing to do with the coroner's office.
That's what I was getting at, I was
Yeah,
trying
no,
to,
no,
I was trying to
no,
separate
no,
one the other.
that's
So-
different, that's
So this is if the coroner's out of the picture, okay, I'm good with that, and quite honestly, I don't think you're gonna get any pushback, so.
As a matter of fact, the ambulance billing company that we use, we are one of only 2 ambulance services that do this. So it's kind of an oddity that they see that, so I'm just letting you guys know, I usually go on their recommendations, what we charge. So I've kind of set it out there, I figure if we're gonna do that, you know, last year we did 47 of these. Some of those were corners, so 20 of those, you're still talking a pretty hunk of change that we're gonna increase our revenue by.
Yeah. Kyle, you got something?
Yeah, I'd actually talked to Jerry Buchanan about that. He was actually for us raising, he said instead of us not transporting period, he'd rather see us raise the price on transporting. And if they don't have somebody on call, so like some of the funeral homes have somebody on call that can pick up the body, and it's not a coroner's case. He said in an instance that they don't have somebody on call, they were willing to let us raise the price in order to transport to the funeral home for them.
But I wanna make honestly sure here on that, and it's in there. If these people wanna go to like Morganay and Madison, that's why that's in there. I know, that's why I wanna make sure
We're
that they
talking about
know.
local funeral homes, and that's what it's always been.
And
is
that's why
that
I want that in
if
there.
Somebody's going to Buckhead,
Right.
Kentucky, then they're gonna wait for that funeral home to come here.
And I just
so.
want everybody to know that's just for inside this county. only.
Yeah, I agree.
So if you guys can sign that and I get that to the billing company.
Well, we're gonna
Make
I need a motion, so
I'll make a motion.
Randy seconds it, and I'll make that unanimous, so. Tammy, on this, do all 3 of us need to sign this?
Just you will be fine.
I've looked at it a million times,
Second.
but actually, I thought a while ago I put March. So,
Next piece of paper we have is for an intercept fee. Basically, what we're doing with this has never been set up in Scott County. If we utilize, let's say, New Washington's ambulance, but our medic gets on board, we've requested them, we can bill for the run. We can't bill for the ambulance, we cannot bill for the mileage, but we can bill for the medical care and equipment used on that patient. Step 1. Step 2 is if we were to intercept with another county and our paramedic gets on that truck or advanced tech or even a basic EMT, if we don't bill for the mileage, we don't bill for the truck, but we can still bill for our services rendered, and that's an intercept fee. According to our billing company, anywhere from $150 to $350. So what I'm doing is going ahead and $250 to be set at that, so we can start getting money. And we're not looking at a large generation on that, but it needs to be established. That way we do have one run that needs to be billed, and this is the way we can bill that run. And that's basically in compliance with everything else that we've been doing. We need to add that to our billing system.
So basically, you're doing a mutual aid type
Correct.
thing, and you'll get paid something for
Right,
it.
we get paid for at least our
Probably
services on the truck.
insurance, but not
Yeah,
necessarily.
and it also
You're not-
depends.
You're not talking about a mutual aid, because if you go into somebody else's county and it's your run, you're getting paid the total bill.
If we do with our ambulance, yes. This is not if we use our
Okay,
ambulance.
that's what
That's only for the
I wanna
paramedic,
clarify.
yeah, that's not for our ambulance. You're correct on that part. We still bill 100% if we go into another county under mutual aid. But this is if we use one of our fly cars, like myself or Kyle, or somebody else is in a fly car and we're on duty and they
Well,
need us.
also, it could be the situation, and correct me if I'm wrong, you do a mutual aid to, say, Clark County, you arrive on the scene first, the others in that,
As long as there's not another paramedic on that truck,
yeah,
we can say this is the paramedic run,
Yeah.
or we can triage it down and then they can take it.
yeah.
But it gives
But
us
you're
the
gonna
right.
get paid for that first, for a 200.
ALS treatment,
That's what I'm
ALS
getting at.
assessment.
But only if we do some kind of service.
ALS assessment is a service,
Yeah,
which
well, I
means
mean,
we check them out.
You're not-
We take vital signs, O2 sats,
Okay.
sugars, All that stuff goes underneath
But
that.
it gets to the point where you get there first, cause, you know,
Right.
somebody's asked for you, and then they arrive on scene and they're gonna transport, but you've already, you
Done
did
part
your
of the work.
assessment, so you get paid, so.
Correct.
I-
And that service can't bill for that, they can only bill for the transport, because if it's a lower, certification level, then they can't bill for the ALS assessment.
Okay.
Makes perfect sense.
Motion to accept this
Motion made.
$250 fee. John makes a motion, Randy seconds, and I'll make that
Any other
unanimous.
question?
I have a question just because I hadn't even thought about it. But Shannon, when you have a call and you have a turnout fire department for first responders, do you bill any extra for the billing company for that first responders?
We don't, because the fire departments at that point have to record that in their, state reporting system. And that would be on the fire department as far as billing that. The fire company itself has to bill that for whatever they want to deem, like it's $25 for medical response.
So there's no upcharge or anything if you have a call that requires more help? I mean, you know, like in the hospital, you know, there's tiers.
Right.
It doesn't go up a tier or anything?
We can't, we can
Requires
only
first
bill, yeah,
responders.
we can only bill BLS, non-emergency, BLS emergency, and then we get into ALS assessment,
Mhm.
and then we get ALS 1 for anything 2 drugs or less, ALS 2 for 2 drugs or more, or 3 drugs or more, and then you have specialty care, which is the ventilators, the chest tubes, cracks and all that kind of stuff, surgical interventions and all that kind of stuff. So we don't have very many of those, but we do, you know, if we transport blood, we don't carry blood on the truck, so that is a specialty transport. We're set up by the state, so.
Thank you.
Yep. So on this last one,
Did we vote on it?
Yes.
I've been in contact with State Rep Randy Fry. He went in for a hip replacement yesterday. I've also been working with Beth Ann Boone, which is on the Child Safety Safe Haven Project. This is the Indiana IC codes, and I don't have it all 3 copies, but there's a copy of the IC codes. It was voted on 3/29 to incorporate volunteer fire companies to get these boxes. Basically, it's just saying that they're not responsible for the child, making sure that the 911 system works, going through that process of volunteer fire companies having a box. I don't think there's anybody in the state of Indiana yet that has a box at a volunteer house. They're all paid. Secondly, here's about a 5-page report that tells you where all the Bayview boxes are in the state. There's 45. Basically saying where they're at. Right now on the I-65 corridor from Louisville to Indianapolis, Clark County has one. Scott County, when we get our stuff evaluated, that's mine. That's how I get loaded for calls. Jackson County has one. Bartholomew County does not. Johnson County does, and then Marion County. Switzerland County is getting theirs. Jefferson County has one at the EMS station. Clark County has one at the Clarksville Fire. Floyd County does not have one. Harrison County does. So that puts us the only counties along the river that would have one. So basically what I'm trying to say is we're looking out for bystanders from other states as well from different areas. Piece of paper I have in front of you is just basically outlining that, tells you how things work. It explains to you that there's going to be 3 alarms come off that box. Because of their sensitivity on their information, I can't tell you the time frame in there, but I can tell you it's within 5 minutes of those 3 alarms going off. When the alarm goes off, there's a first aid kit in the box for the mother. There's also instructions and paperwork for her to fill out, like she has allergies, medical history, medication she's on, that kind of stuff. In the first aid kit is for her to be able to clamp and cut the cord if it's not already been done so for postpartum hemorrhage, so that we can take care of that. Totally anonymous. I spoke with her about the camera that we have where we're going to be putting this. She said the camera can stay. It just has to be repositioned so we cannot see the person's face, which is totally fine, and she totally wants there to be a camera there, and that's Beth Ann. Basically, King's Daughters Hospital Ambulance Service has one. Owen County EMS has one, which is just west of Bloomington. When we get ours, we'll be the third service in the state with an ambulance service with that baby box. I've talked with her about how they funded it. It's all through donations, 100%. United Way has already been contacted, and they're going to be doing something. Knights of Columbus want to get in on this as well. They've supported it in the past. I know Morgan's, I've got the contact information for Morgan's. They've helped tremendously out with Jefferson counties as well. So within the next few weeks, I want to be able to start sending out letters. We've set a goal of $25,000. The box is going to cost us $10,000. It's going to cost us $1,500 a year once we get that. We do a daily check of the box, and then at the end of that, every year we will do a 1 year, like a tornado drill, make sure all the alarms work and all that kind of stuff.
The $1,500 a year, what's that for?
That's for maintenance, upkeep,
Just, okay,
just general maintenance.
okay.
So I've talked
Some of
with,
your supplies need to be probably replaced or.
yeah, if you need to replace supplies, if you need to have additional trainings, that kind of stuff like that. I've talked to Teresa, and I also talked to Beth Ann. We can fund this through the EMS budget, specific line item for Safe Haven box. We can accept donations year-round. We'll put those into that. That way the State Board of Accounts can audit that. We can also add to, if we had to, if EMS budget needed to put in some, just a little bit, we can do that, or whatever we need to do. All of it's legitimate, no issues. Basically, all I'm having you guys do tonight is read this, see that you're in cooperation with me and getting the process going, so we can get on to the next step and get the letters mailed out and all that kind of stuff.
Sooner the better, word I'm concerned.
Correct.
That's
So,
a great
you know,
thing.
Seymour did have twins. Clarksville's, I don't think's been used yet, and they have had people show up. Basically, they've cut the cord rudely, cut the cord, and left the baby in there. The baby can be adopted to the residents of that county first before it's put out for adoption to other counties in the state of Indiana. We also keep a record if the baby ever wants to know in 20 years
Yeah.
what the situation was.
You just said something, it's a rare thing, I suppose, but what if there is more than one baby? How big is this?
It's big enough, they could put, if they had 3 infants, they could put 3 infants in there for,
Okay.
yeah, it's not just for, I mean, obviously you're not gonna stick an 18-year-old in there, but, or 17-year-old. But for infants, you can stick 3 to 4.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, well, I'm sure some people might have tried, but you can stick 2, I would say 3 safely, 4 probably, if you had a situation where you had 4 people show up at the same time.
Yeah.
Then they can fill out the information for that child. What we'll do is, once the 911's been notified, the alarm's been sounded, it sounds off an X amount of times within 5 minutes. We'll then take care of the child goes straight to the hospital. The hospital then takes over care, they assess it, treat it as such, arrange for transport if it needs to be transferred to a children's hospital because of something that's going on. CPS is also involved at that point. Once it gets to the ER, CPS is called automatically. CPS then takes care of the child, all the food needs,
They'll provide a
clothing,
home or
all that
whatever.
stuff's done.
Okay.
So before I started getting a hold of Right to Life, because Right to Life, even the state and the federal Right to Life movement will give us money for this. It also makes us eligible for federal grant money, and it also makes us eligible for state money as well. Now how much, I don't know. And I know that the insurance rates are also affected by this box being in the community. So,
The insurance rates going up?
no. And I think it's on the county's part that goes down. So.
That's a benefit, it's not a guarantee, but it's.
Right.
Yeah.
And she couldn't, Beth Ann is the one that organized the one for Jefferson County. And she's the one that's she works with Fry really good. She's all the time working with him. I'm gonna get a hold of Payne to see what we can get with him, get him going on this. apparently with Fry, he was the one that introduced the bill in 2015 and has been pushing legislation ever since.
But you're already taking donations.
We've put it out there. We haven't accepted any yet, but we are in the process of doing that. So I just want you guys to know where the money's gonna be going, what line item we'll do with this, council. That way we can track the money and keep this program going for many, many years in the future.
And I might wanna add, even though EMS is not a tax fund, you
Right.
basically you're a home rule fund, you generate your own income.
Right.
We probably will more likely need an ordinance that you guys will entertain that will allow for the acceptance of donations to a county fund, to a county account, because we do that at the health department, sheriff's department, sometimes they wanna donate things to these, or, to the county, so we'll probably follow up with an ordinance, with your all's blessing to accept donations on behalf of that program. We'll line out specifically.
The donation will be specific to this program?
Specific to this program only.
And a line item would be created within the EMS budget, so Pat can write claims for the expenditures for
Right.
maintenance through the normal process, but it would just be a particular perpetual line item that'll get carried forward from year to
Yeah.
year
Good thing.
in the budget.
Question? So you need a motion from us to, I'll accept a motion to create a safe haven project for EMS.
And I'll make that motion, and also while I'm doing it, I wanna say thank you, Shannon, for doing this. You've done it. Nothing I've done, I don't know, maybe you guys have, but I appreciate you getting on top of this. This is a good thing.
It's something that we really need. I'm gonna be honest with you, with the overdose epidemic going on here, I think it's something we really absolutely should have. One specific topic on that, talking to Mary Beth, there have been no drug babies in these boxes. None.
None in their system.
No babies with
He's
overdose
saying that
issues.
a baby's not been put into one of these boxes that are from a
drug addict.
I'm
So no drug addicts has dropped
I
off.
pose the question I'm asking, I think that's good, but how do you know that if we don't know who
The
these people are?
the state has done their testing on them. These babies are healthier than the
That's
babies.
what I'm saying,
Right.
the testing will show no drugs in the babies.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
There's
Yeah,
more
that-
there's more babies born in local hospitals that are drug addicted than there is that's ever been dropped in these boxes. And there's
Yeah.
been no SIDS cases or no stillborn babies left in these boxes either. So there's no deceased
Yeah.
infants being left. And no infants have died in these boxes.
John's made a motion. Randy seconds it, I'll make it unanimous, so you need me to sign that.
Yes, sir. Now we'll get started on the letters for the community.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks for what you did. That's a good project.
Thanks.
Keep up good work.
All right, the next thing on the agenda is the pandemic response required, or I guess in requirements for the
Repeat
county
that.
buildings. Hey, tabloid,
Hey, what I said was worse when I.
anyway, I don't even know what I said, I'll go read it. But anyway, pandemic response and requirements for county buildings, so. I guess I'll just go through a little bit here. I know the governor's, request for, his emergency order has expired on April the 6th, and I guess I'm a little slow because I'm thinking, why was April 6th a big deal? But with the NCAA Final Four in Indianapolis, he waited till all those people left. And then over the weekend, I'm sitting there going, why April 6th? Why April 6th? Well, then I'm thinking, I know why, because all those people are gone. So anyway, kudos to him. So, but anyway, since we're not under an emergency order anymore by the governor, our health department has always followed the governor's mandate, which is, mandatory face mask in public and restaurants and what buildings and grocery stores and every place else. The order, as I read it, says that it's an advisory now, except for state buildings, and schools. And the schools are till the end of this school year, calendar school year, so they've got to the end of this, I guess, May or June, whenever the school's out, those kids will still, if you're in the schools, you still will have to wear a mask, but, so I guess I don't know if it's a recommendation or my thought, or is that, as a courthouse, we were following the mandate of the governor. Now that that mandate is no longer in place, I think, and this is me talking, so I mean, I'll entertain anybody else's thoughts, but my thoughts are, it's an advisory now, and if you wanna wear a mask in this building, you wear a mask. If you don't wanna wear a mask in this building, then you're not required to wear a mask, so. We've protected, I feel like we've protected our employees by putting plexiglass up, glass up, separating them from the public, and actually it's probably, except for one office, and they asked not to have that done, but anyway, that's my thought, and I guess I'll open it up for each of you guys to say whatever you want.
Yeah, I think this, the only concern here is I think this was passed down from our judge in his order. And I did talk to him about it. Of course, he's like, they're gonna do their thing upstairs. And, I talked to several officers, as a matter of fact, not all of them, and I think everybody's like, yeah, that's okay. The question was, do we wanna have masks in the hallways or not, and that kind of stuff. But I think upstairs is gonna operate independently from what we're gonna do.
And they have the right to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
They have a right to.
But I'm all for I'm all for letting them in, I'm tired of that. If anybody wants to have an appointment, I suppose each office holder could do that anyway. But, I don't see no need of, but I do think maybe we ought to still check people's door, whatever basic things we do, to see if there's any chance they have temperatures or things of that nature. But otherwise, you're right, it's whatever we wanna do. He agreed that he was on that.
So, as far as EMS is concerned, since we have classes and an influx of people, I still want to check the temperatures.
Mhm.
When we have classes, I want that to be still mandatory for us. If we have patients with, respiratory problems, I would like not to reserve the right to be able to do that. Also, if we have transient people, or people are traveling through, especially from the south, or south from Michigan, because I know they have a new strand, to kind of protect our staff. That's the only thing I ask for.
I agree with you. I mean, as far as EMS, well, and fire, anybody that runs medical runs, if that patient still could have COVID. I mean, so doesn't mean that, you wear your PPE and you protect yourself. I mean, so I don't have a problem with that. I'm talking not on medical runs, I'm talking.
I'm gonna make that procedure tomorrow.
Yeah,
Tomorrow morning, I'll make that
and also, I wanna clarify to the public, if any restaurant or if any business wants to continue the mask mandate, that's up to them. You know, when I was a little kid, I mean, that's a long time ago, but there was a sign on all the doors that says no shirt, no shoes, no service. I mean, that's their business, and they have the authority to be able to say that. So and I don't know anybody that's gonna do it, but they still have the right, to do that. And I mean, that's up to each individual person. So you got questions, or you got a statement?
I agree, I don't think we need to mandate it, and if you wanna wear one mask, two masks, three masks, four, then go ahead, but.
I'm just gonna read you Judge Mounts, and like you said, we don't have to do anything, but he recommended, and didn't order anything, that the building should be open to the public, which I think we all agree with that. And but he thinks the policies should remain as is in the building with respect to temperature checks, contact tracing, facial coverings in the entire building. However, they're sensitive to the needs of the first floor office holders and commissioners. So that's his thoughts. So we can do what we want, but,
Well, I think and I'm maybe proved wrong, but I think he can mandate that in his courts. But I think the rest of the courthouse, we have the authority to do whatever we want.
No, he's saying that, he's saying
Oh,
that
it's
just
fine.
upstairs they're gonna do
Oh, it's,
different.
I mean, I never doubted that that's what they were gonna continue to do, so. So anyway, if you guys are in agreement as far as the rest of the courthouse, I would suggest that it's an advisory, and any signage that, maybe the signage is changed and put on the stairwells and the elevators that says if you're going to the third floor, that, you know, you need to wear a mask. I mean, it's mandatory there. But I think the doors, the outside doors need to be changed to, it's an advisory. And that if you wanna wear it, wear it. If you don't, you're not required to do it. And as far as the temperature check, that's, to me, if somebody wants to do that, then,
And-
you know, that's fine. I
And
mean,
the issue is, yeah, cause it's not gonna be a question upstairs. So for him to have it done upstairs, they've gotta do it this door over
yeah,
here.
that's fine. I just, like I said.
The only thing they wouldn't be doing would be, well, they're gonna make him wear a mask up there.
Yeah, but that's
So
what I
and
said.
his thoughts was that maybe we should just have them wear masks in the hallways.
I can change the sign on the front door
I'm
to
on.
say, masks advised, but required for court. And,
That's fine.
you know, I could change something real simple and then that way it's not a requirement for the
Well,
building, but it's a requirement for court.
To me, if what you're saying, John, is that the judge is asking us to wear it in the hallway, well, that's the same thing we're doing now. Because
Yeah.
once you get beyond that door, the employees aren't wearing them.
If we can social
What he's really
distance.
recommending, just, we don't have to have appointments anymore.
Well, they're,
And they'd be open and they just,
well, I agree with that too, but I agree that, you know, you can make an appointment, and sometimes that works out better for people to know that, hey, so-and-so's coming in at so-and-so
Yeah.
time. And you can attest to that. You've had a lot of people do that, and maybe that works out better. At least you know what your day's gonna be. But as far as the other part of that, it sounds to me like he's still asking for the same thing that we've always done. If you're in the hallway, then you need to wear a mask. Well,
Yeah.
that's, to me, that's an advisory. If you wanna wear a mask, wear it. If you don't, if you're gonna go up to the third floor, then put your mask on. So, but if you want, and I agree that maybe they could still test, their temperature at the door, cause if somebody's got a temperature, then they need to know they got a temperature but as far as the mask in the building, my opinion is that it's an advisory, except for the third floor, and they have the right to do that in their courtroom, so.
but he'd like to have them tested, plus, keep the records, that they've done before.
So if they have a temperature, are you gonna give them a mask and tell them they have to wear it?
Well, I think they turn them around.
I think if you have a temperature, you're not allowed in the building, so.
And that's the same way with us for EMS. If they come in at the door and they have a temperature, they're asked to leave.
Yeah, I think that's still a policy,
So we wanna keep the temperature, cause I have the 100.4
Yeah.
and you don't enter. And then so therefore their masks are
Advised,
advised,
yes.
necessary for the third floor.
Yeah,
The 100.4 temperature check is still in place.
Yeah,
And then, of course, the guards and the judge can work out the logging for whoever goes where. That's between him and them.
Yeah.
Or
And
her and
here's-
him, them.
here's his at a minimum.
But only on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Any day that ends in Y.
He said, the Judge Mount, here's his order. He said, at a minimum, he would order that anyone conducting business with the courts would be temperature checked before coming upstairs. And he said he would order facial coverings in all common spaces on the second floor of the courtroom. And as we're back to normal business, we're going back to normal business. He would anticipate he will have a higher concentration of people waiting in the hallways where social distance could be a problem. Mask would be required for anyone on the second floor, so I suppose if they're going upstairs, they would have to offer them a mask if they don't already have one.
yeah, that,
They do have court down here as well, in this room.
Sometimes, yeah, in here, yeah. So if they come in there, they'll put a mask on.
if they're going, if this is a courtroom one day, then everybody in this room is gonna have a mask on. So it's, if wherever the court is being held, But,
And I'll say court, cause that way, no matter where it's
Yep.
at.
yeah, cause they can be in the basement too.
And then just from an office holder that has regular hours, it is a relationship and it's a dynamic. Some people don't wanna come in here, just because they feel like there's a lot of people and they can get exposed themselves. So they like doing business sometimes, cause number one, they can stay at home, or it's more convenient. They don't have to worry about the hours we keep sometimes, so it's an emails and do things. So that part has been a more, kind of it's evolved. So we don't do business exactly like we used to. And I think it will take us a while to come back out of that if we ever do.
Yeah.
Because, there's a lot of employers, if their employees are gonna stay home 90% of the time now. So, being open to the public again is gonna be, a thing that they're gonna have confidence in their personal situation, when they've been vaccinated or not or whatever, to be able to enter into a public building. So, with or without a mask. So
Well-
it's gonna be a slow go back to normal. Anyway,
I agree with that, but any company that owns office, I guess leased office areas, their business is getting ready to change for a long time, because a lot of these corporations are never bringing those people back in a building. They're going to work from home, and that's, those office spaces are gonna be empty. So, anyway,
The one thing I would add is if you're gonna have court here or down in the basement, do like what we did and got one of the blue light scanners. That way you guys can scan this room or whatever room they're in immediately after they get done that day. And it dissipates the possibility of you guys having anything.
so how much are those?
I think they're around $5,000.
I think the court could buy that.
And I'm just being honest, that's what we do with our trucks in our station. So that's our normal business now with that.
You had one out there, you said?
Yes, sir.
I'll come out and take a look.
Come on.
Well, at the worst case scenario, if it happens tomorrow, we can have Josh and, come in and spray everything down, wipe it down with disinfectant, so.
And we also have that fogger now too. So we actually have a different way to do that.
That 5,000 would be just for one room, right?
No, it's,
That's a machine.
it's a
control.
portable.
Yeah, you just sit it down and it does its thing in about
Okay.
15 minutes.
All right. But I mean, it's just gonna be in the space you're in.
Yeah.
so if they want extra assurances.
No, if they wanna go somewhere else and put it in another room, they can just pick it up and take it
You
to
can do
another
this
room.
in a
Well, I mean,
courthouse.
it's not something you're gonna do the whole courthouse in one.
Could
You
if
can
you
take it
got
room
it.
by room. Yeah, you can take it room by room.
So technically, the courthouse ought to buy one, cause if you had a court up there, even though they're wearing a mask, people are touching things, and you could probably go in there after they leave and put it in there for a half hour or whatever, and
If
it's
you have
probably a
two
good,
sessions- if
it's
you have
probably a
two
good
sessions,
investment.
If you had a session in the morning and a different session in the afternoon, I would 100% say do that.
I'm just trying to sort out, it might be a need for more than one.
No,
I wouldn't
I
think
think-
any more than one, because I don't think your courtrooms are gonna be that busy. And you can do the total building on a weekend or on a Friday night or a Sunday night or
Okay.
something.
Maximum time at one time is 6 minutes. It doesn't go over 6 minutes, or after 6 minutes, it's done for the entire room.
Have we found out if there's hazmat paperwork available for that stuff yet?
no, he's talking about blue, right, he's not talking about the fogger.
Oh, okay.
This is just a
Now, the
ultraviolet
fogger
light.
stuff, I just got the chemicals and I'm getting the MSDA sheet tomorrow,
Okay.
so, but it's non-toxic.
Or, yeah, I missed
What
it.
is it? Do you remember?
Like the one I got at home, I put my phone and stuff in it.
Well, with that, I think we need to purchase for, whether Josh has enough money in his budget to buy one of those, or we move money around, but I think the courthouse needs to have one of those.
You still have to wipe down before you use it though.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. You don't want people to get a false sense of security.
Well, you're right, cause
But just make sure you guys get the same one we got, that way if there's issues, we get the same equipment.
Josh can get with Shannon and get a model number or whatever, so I'd propose that we make that purchase, I mean,
It just makes it safer for everybody, that way there's no question about it.
I'm with you.
And quite honestly, Josh could walk around and put it in everybody's office
Change
actually.
a night a week if you wanted to, just
Yeah.
rotate the cleaning, because I mean, besides coronavirus, I mean, we could have an outbreak of the flu in one office or anything, it would be very nice to
That's
have.
everything. That's the same thing that the hospitals use, especially down at your major Louisville. They're called little robots, and that little robot goes under and does its thing and scans everything in the room. Geraldine, what do you guys use, it's got something like that as well?
We don't have that lot.
Well, I'll entertain a motion to purchase one, and whether Josh has the money or if he can move money around, or, you know, did we ever get any money from the transportation
know if this-
company?
Jeff gets up here in a few minutes to talk about, the educational, last 10% of the CARES money that was given, and we had to sign projects. Michelle had some time, but she's yet to done, and Shannon's gonna have some, educational things that tie to that. I don't know if there'd be enough left in that line item now that, and if it would be applicable to what we could spend it on. We might have enough in that $77,000 in the CARES left over, maybe we'll even buy this. So
Okay.
I'll take a look at that and see.
Well,
We figured 7,000 left out.
That might be, I knew there was gonna be a little bit left, and there may be enough to buy it out of that,
well,
which would be for the public and for
I'd
their,
say buy it.
We had to get close to that total, and we never did count the complete total.
yeah, and we drew down the whole amount, we drew the whole
And you
amount
feel
down.
pretty confident it's less than that, 7,000?
I'm pretty sure it's around $5,000.
Okay.
We
Yeah, I'm
might
with you.
have it
Let's go
there.
for it.
And it might even be less than that now.
John, I mean,
I'll make a
can you get them?
Second.
Oh, yeah.
Cause like a lot of things, they're out of stock, so John made a motion to buy one of the, whatever you call it,
Is it only 1,200? It might be 1,200.
Yeah, I think they were only 1,200, that was one of the purchases Tyler made before he left. I think we only paid around 1,200 for one.
So we'll have enough to get a couple.
so John made a motion to purchase a, what do you call it?
I just call it a blue scanner for.
UV scrubber?
The UV scrubber.
Okay, a UV scrubber, to sanitize, help sanitize, the courthouse, so Randy seconds it, and I'll make that unanimous.
Because you guys are gonna save a bunch of money, because all of our stuff is now seeing another 40% increase at what they started in January, with a 40% increase in our prices.
So, I think that's good.
I don't think we voted yet on the, open it up, have we?
Pardon me?
I don't think we've opened up yet on the county buildings.
No, we haven't said, we haven't made a motion yet, so I'll entertain some sort of motion I'll entertain some sort of motion on a guideline of how we're going to open up the courthouse, so.
I'll make a motion.
Well, I need to know what
What
you're
kind of
talking
motion you
about.
want, consider entertain some kind of motion.
You want me to do that?
I just I need it worded in a certain way, and then if we all accept how it's worded, I mean, so.
Well, I believe that we should open it up and allow people to make their own decision.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that, I'm with you on that. I think we should, open it up again without appointments, unless each office holder wants to have an appointment, that'd be their business, I think. And mask would be advisory, but not necessary. I think that's the two issues, wasn't it?
And
And
Tim's.
they
And
should,
Tim's.
And the temperature shift.
and yeah, the normal, well, I think it's, they keep a check of everybody too up there, they keep a log.
And
I
now we
would-
can work out with each
And I would-
individual office might want a log of who comes and goes in their office.
Well, I know the judges will.
And
that's
that
why I
they can
think
work
we
that
should
out
con-
with security,
I
that's
think
not really your.
I know
fault. Yeah.
that, well, we're over security.
I know, but he can ask them to keep a log. If I wanted them to say, can you please track who comes in the auditor's office, they would do it for me. It's just part of what they can do down there, but that's up to you. if you wanna
I think we ought to
implement
keep the log, do away with the normal temperature checks in the log, but otherwise advisory on the mask and.
Courtrooms would be
Just as normal.
mandatory,
Yeah. That'd be-
because of the judge's orders,
Yes.
so.
Yeah.
Okay, let me rephrase, so the motion is, to have the courthouse as the mask mandate, or is reversed to an advisory.
Yes.
Temperatures will still be recorded. Anyone over, what is it, 101?
100.4.
100.4 will not be able to access the courthouse. There will be a document, documentation of where you're going within the building and your name of whatever's being done now. The only exception is going to be that on the second floor in the courtrooms, you will be, you're under the court's decision to have mandated masks. So,
Or anywhere.
or anywhere
Yeah.
a court is being held. So, is that pretty much?
I do have one, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to beat up the law thing, but once we are not by appointment only, there could be, we seriously have people that run in here just to use the restroom. I mean, they will be on the square and run in here.
You
So
know, I
do you
don't-
want security to write down that such and such came in and went restroom? I mean, I'm not picking it,
I know.
picking it out, I'm just saying.
I'd say put their name down, and if their temperature read right, then they're good, because otherwise, I don't care where they go,
Just as long as that they're entrant to the building, you
Yeah,
just
yeah.
want a log of that, okay?
Yeah,
I just wanna make
yeah.
sure security knows what you guys
Yeah.
are
I
wanting.
mean, they don't have to,
I
There's
don't
gonna
think
be a
things are
lot
gonna
of-
change for them very much outside of,
Well, there's just gonna be more people now.
yeah.
well, there'll be more
Yeah.
people because the courtrooms are gonna be open, but.
Especially with taxes coming up.
Yeah, there's
But
gonna,
actually,
there's
that
gonna
taxes thing actually worked out better with the
It
box,
did, didn't it?
so,
Oh.
so anyway,
be, but
Randy
literally,
made
they
a,
could be writing hundreds of names down when we start paying taxes.
yeah, Randy made a motion, John seconded the motion, and I'll make it unanimous, so.
Okay.
All right, and actually, I never thought about
I'll
this,
wear it out.
but the
Yeah.
notification of a change of poll location for Jennings, actually Jennings 1, 2, and 5, and I'm gonna read, the letter from Wendy McLean, the clerk of the courts. I was notified by the secretaries of the superintendent of Scott County School District 1, Kay Combs, about upcoming construction and demolition project involving one of the poll locations for Jennings Township precincts 1, 2, and 5. Austin Boys High School gym located on 165 South Highway 31 in Austin beginning January of 2022. This will impact the closing of the boys gym, making it unavailable for the next primary election in 2022. It is possible it may also affect the general election as well. I'm informing commissioners of the suggested options now so that a decision and plans can be made to select another location and begin the necessary updates with the voter registration system, as well as communication with registered voters. So there is nothing really to do in 2021. The county commissioners pick the polling places and certify that the list not later than 29 days before each election. Although, if a decision is made sooner rather than later, I request that you please notify the clerk of this decision, so plans can be scheduled in advance. A tour is available upon request with the secretary of the superintendent's office. The clerk, the election board members, and a few poll workers would also like to attend such tour, which I would be happy to schedule for you. Just let me know if this is your intention. I've attached a copy of the school map for your review. The number one option that seems to be agreed upon by all elected board members as well as the school is to use the Austin Girls Gym, high school gym instead. Below are some of the reasons for your considerations. Reasons for the girls' high school gym as a new poll location, not a big change in the distance or location from the boys' gym. Ample parking space and ADA compliant. Less confusing for voters if moved to the high school back of the building. Could be used for replacement poll location going forward rather than moving back and forth once construction is completed, which could cause a lot of confusion for voters and a heavily burden for inquiries and phone calls during election year. Other options for inquiry and permissions for poll locations: Austin Fire Department, Grace Covenant Church, J. Stallings Gym on Rule Street. Note, the Austin High School cafeteria, 401 South Highway 31 will remain available as a poll location for Jennings precincts 3 and 4. I'm available for questions or concerns. Wendy McLean. So it sounds to me like the change would be that we wouldn't be in the boys' gym, that we would be in the girls' gym, which is in the building prior to the other ones, is what I'm understanding, so.
It's just on the backside.
And I don't think she's asked for anything like this moment issue, she just let us know this is coming.
I don't see anything, she has said that
Yeah,
she needs to know sooner than later, but
I don't know if it makes any difference, but I'd be in favor of giving her the authority to make her own choice on that. Or we can wait.
What are your thoughts?
I'll make a motion to do it.
Yeah, whatever you got.
I'll make that motion. I'll accept Randy's motion, and I assume John's second to
Yeah.
just, let her have, or move it to the girls' gym, and quite honestly, if that's a permanent site, then it's a permanent site, so,
Yeah,
I'll make that unanimous, so I guess you can tell Wendy that, she can tell the Austin School Superintendent that they're gonna be in the girls' gym.
Okay. That works.
So, moving right along. Stony Brook Drive, I got a letter here, looks like from Derek and Julie Burns. I'm going ahead and read it. It says, Dear Commissioners, we are pleased to inform you that Wiggum Paving has completed all work in paving and repairing Stony Brook subdivision roads up to the county road standards. Kent was a wealth of knowledge and graciously documented the process, which he said he shared with Mike Jones. Although we're in Montana, he was in constant communication with us, and we are extremely confident the road now meets county standards. As we discussed with Mike, Mary Ellen Morgan is now reaching the age that maintaining the road for the next 2 years is no small task. With that in mind, we would like to formally ask the board to have the county take over the oversight of the road. We also would like to ask the board to consider special circumstances and also consider waiving the 2-year grace period and instead take over the road as soon as possible. We feel this would be best to ensure residents' needs are met with also not overwhelming Mary Ellen. I assume, I don't like to tell people's age, but 89 years old. We know this isn't a small ask, and it's certainly a unique situation, so we appreciate your consideration. Thank you in advance. And then there's an email on the back here, pretty much says the same thing. We are pleased to inform it says, well, I'll just go ahead and read it. It's from Julie and Derek Burns as well. It says, Dear Scott County Board of Commissioners, we are pleased to inform you that Stony Brook subdivision road was repaired, final top coat added, and brought up to county standards this past March by Wiggum Paving. Please accept the attached letter formally requesting the board consideration of adopting the road into the county system as soon as possible. If anything else is needed, do not hesitate to let us know. We greatly appreciate the board's consideration of waiving the normal 2-year maintenance requirements. I'm going to make a statement, then everybody else can do what they want, but I know it's not my district, and it's actually is it yours?
yeah.
Chad talked to me prior to the meeting about some culverts, and I think that before my desire is to waive the 2-year and accept the road. They were more than gracious to jump in and get it done. My only concern is do we do that prior to having some culverts repaired? If the culverts are on driveways, and I'm sure most of them are, but I mean, I would like to see and make sure all the culverts are in good working order before we would accept it. And if there's a if there's something that we need repaired, maybe, from the sounds of it, they would be more than happy to maybe, flip that cost to have those repaired. And I know in the past, we've always, is it $200 that we normally charge somebody will install the culvert, but we charge the landlord $200, but
I think it's a case of where, the property owner would buy the culvert, and then the highway
Yeah.
department would
That's-
determine the size.
yeah,
And-
that's what we do now. I mean, we'll install for free and put the
You
rock
have to get a
on.
lot of rock with it, and some rip wrap if they need it.
I think the call we're concerned about was one that crossed Meridian, wasn't it?
Well, there's actually more than one.
Yeah, I mean, those are the ones that would be our responsibility. Because they're on our roads, not
Well,
on
the
driveways.
ones that did not get replaced are all under Stony Brook. One of them didn't even get put in.
That's what I'm saying, the issue is not people's driveways, it's
Yeah, it's not
crossing.
driveways, it's actually underneath the road.
Yeah,
But at the
We
entrance,
have to cut the new road to put those in.
and I'm a little bit like Mike here, I mean, I'm just grateful that we got this far.
Oh, yeah, they've been
So I don't
moving.
I don't wanna pound these people, they've really done some good work here, but,
And I think the pipes that would have to be used would probably be, I think the 12x30s are $225 a piece. And one of them might be a little bit more than that, one of them might be closer to 300 for a 15.
how many are we talking about?
Huh?
How many are we talking?
One of them, I think, is a 15x30, and I think the other two are 12x30. I think you went up and looked at it too, but I
So
think.
we're talking
the
under
others-
$1,000,
Yes.
I don't see no need.
No, that's not counting your rock, but.
But
That's,
they have blacktop it, right?
yeah,
they
So-
were-
You're
oh, no,
gonna have to cut the
I
blacktop.
agree, they've stood up and done their thing.
You know, I'm saying
Yeah, but
we're
what
gonna
he's
have
saying
to
is
cut
we're
the
gonna bust the
blacktop.
road up to do it.
You're gonna have
Yes,
to-
we would.
We would have to
destroy
cut
the
it and
blacktop.
take the asphalt out and, we could do it, or we could come back and do it ourselves.
It's just, I think this issue, whether we're gonna pay it or we're gonna have them pay it. Correct?
That's,
I would say if it's not ours yet, I would say that would be.
well, and that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
if they would replace those two,
We'll accept them.
and we would
Yeah.
accept it, cause I would hate to think that we have bad pipes under there, and I know it's not my district, but I know where you're talking about on Meridian and that, but I was under the impression that,
If I'm not mistaken, it's off of Jack Morgan Road, and as soon as you're dropping down the hill, there's one across the road there. I think there's a pond on the left side, on the north side, and there's one right there, and that's the one I told you was really deep. It might not give you a lot of trouble for a long time, or it might just collapse on you, but it is deep.
I got a question about that, and maybe somebody, I know Chad, you're here, and Kevin's here as well, but can you line those culverts like they do, storm drains and stuff?
The smaller ones, I don't believe so.
The only ones I've seen mine is really much larger.
You know what I'm talking about
6 foot or bigger,
with
yeah.
Regal? I mean, Patrick Hauser was doing it with, cause I was talking.
They gotta be at least 6 foot or bigger probably to be able to even get a sleeve in there.
Well, I don't know about that, cause when we were having when we first talked about the sewer issues over at the jail, Patrick, I talked to him about lining those pipes,
Really?
and he acted like that they could do that.
Yeah, I didn't know if anything any smaller, but yeah.
So I'm wondering if there's and I'll reach out to Patrick, see if he could do something like
That'd
that.
be good.
Cause that might be an avenue that save the road, and they can line those, and actually, from what I understand, cause he said normally they'll go in a manhole, they'll put that material in there and blow it up and superheat it or whatever it does, and
Probably.
it actually hardens,
I guess the only issue with them would be the one on Meridian that never get put in.
and that's something we probably need to, and I'll
Which
reach-
would be easier because it's separated. from
Right at the
other
road.
So that would be a whole lot easier to fix.
Let me get with Kent Wigan and ask him, first of all, why he didn't replace the culvert, or why he would not have recommended replacing the culvert, and then the second thing is why you wouldn't have put one at that road where you're talking about. So, but anyway, I would like to get those 2 questions answered before accepting that. And then and make sure that, you know, you guys need to inspect the homeowner's culverts and make sure.
Yeah, that may not even be part of his project.
No, and it probably isn't, but those people, I mean, we need to keep water off the road and we need to make sure,
Yeah.
you know, the water is not sitting on the road. So in those cases, you know, we can go back to the, hey, $250 or $200, we'll dig it out, put your other one in and call it a day. But, I'd like to have those couple of questions answered before.
I would too, because I almost hate to even bring it up to the fact that, you know, we had them pave it, they paved it, and they've done a good job, and now we're coming back and saying, well, now you gotta cut it open and put a culvert in.
Yeah.
That's something we should have caught, that's something we should have caught.
Well, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that was part of, was in agreement ahead of time.
Should have been.
I think it was.
In my original reply to, Derek and Julie, I said that they needed to look at the culverts. And
So we just need
all of
answers.
a sudden, everything got paved. So I don't know what happened there. I don't know who dropped the ball.
Gotcha.
Let me
And
get.
I didn't blame that on you either, you know,
Sure you did.
no.
But no matter what, these people.
No, I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying.
I
Yeah.
mean, that road's nice.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
is.
so,
I just,
yeah, that was one of those.
that would, if it
Yeah.
was me, it would upset me.
Yeah, but that being a
That I'd have to
private,
do that.
right now, being private, would we be able to do the culverts, or would that have to be given to somebody else?
I'm thinking that if we come to the decision that we'll install the culverts, then we'll accept the road and then we'll install the culverts.
Yeah, you're right, once we accept, it's our problem.
But we need to know what the, you know,
Yeah,
that
if it
cost
comes
is,
to that.
what that cost is gonna be. I mean, I don't wanna instill a big cost for something that they need to bring the road to standards, and the standard, great, the blacktop is the standard, but, you know, if it's not gonna drain properly, then we need to fix that issue, I think, before. And I've not brought that up to them, so, I'd like to table this until we can get an answer about the drainage and the culverts, and if that one is right there, you're saying it's on Jack Morgan and,
No, it's Meridian.
So it's
right on
Meridian.
That never did get the.
but that one's so close to Meridian that we can,
It could be cut out.
it can be cut without a big, you know, it's in the middle or down the road, so.
When is Meridian scheduled? Is it scheduled to
Sorry,
be blacktop?
It was done 2 years ago.
Yeah,
It was done 2 years ago?
But right at the break of the road, it wouldn't be that, cause there's a break there anyway, so.
Well, we'll just have, I'm with you, let's take a look at it, and I don't see any reason we couldn't have some answers by our next meeting.
No, I don't think so.
Get it done.
And I'm gonna ask Patrick Hauser if they can line that, so.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see that too.
So, anyway, all right, let's move on to Jeff and EMA claims. And the answer is no.
It's free money, I don't care. She said you had a copy of the claims.
Is this all traffic solutions?
Yep, there's 2 different claims, 2 different types of signs. There's, the $21,000 one is 2 that's on trailers.
There's the originals.
2 signs for $21,000, they will be on trailers. And the 11,190 is for 2 portable signs. It comes with the pole that you can stand out here in front of the courthouse, you could attach it to the back of a vehicle, whatever. To be used by anybody in the county, or county departments, you know. If you wanna stick one out there on Boatman Road when it floods, road closed, flooded. Put one out there, or use them during the fair for parking signs. Whatever we need to use them for. And it was part of that 77,000 that had to be used for public education and public awareness. in the state.
If we don't use it, we lose it?
We already have it,
Yeah,
but we need
already-
to expend it for specific purposes.
Yeah,
And
but I
this
mean-
fits the purpose.
Okay.
Yes, and that was pre-approved by you guys a few weeks ago. This is that extra coronavirus CARES Act drawdown for education
Is
and
this-
public awareness.
Is this an electric, you're saying it's electronic, but is it like a digital type thing?
Yeah. It's digital, you can control it from an app on your smartphone. So if you need to change it in the middle of the day, you can do it from your smartphone to change the wording, whatever.
And it's, I see here, it's solar powered?
Yep.
So are we talking two of them, or are we talking one on the trailer?
There's 4 altogether. There's 2 on the trailer and 2 portables.
What's the total amount we're asking
It's, what was it, 30?
32,190.
Yeah.
Money's in place,
Money's there.
it's not local taxpayers' money.
Nope. COVID
Because
money.
I mean, it's taxpayers' money, but not local
Right,
taxpayers' money.
it comes from the COVID, it has to be used for public education, public awareness.
Is there a deadline on when we have to use it?
No, we have the funds already.
Yeah, the funds have already,
Expire.
No, we have the funds.
Okay.
I turned in payroll
Okay.
that covered the $77,470 or whatever, something like that. And we actually received the money about, what, 3 weeks ago?
yeah, something like that.
And you'll keep it over in the back of your.
Well, the ones on the trailer, we'll either keep out the health department or county highway possibly.
Okay,
That way, wherever somebody can access it. If county highway needs to use them for shutting down the road, or if they're out mowing and wanna put it up.
So how big are these?
I think you,
I went with the 18, Installer 18, so it's not, I don't know what the dimensions are actually on them, but they're pretty good, decent size. You know, about, I don't know, I would say equivalent to maybe like a 60-inch TV, something like that.
unless there's something better we can use it for, I don't see a reason not to, but other ideas.
The only, you guys decided that the only 3 departments that could use it was EMA, EMS, and the health department.
And the sheriff.
No,
Oh, okay.
that was the only 3 departments, right?
It was for
thought you-
public education
Highway-
and health and
Highway
safety.
department?
No, you only gave it to 3 departments, EMA, health, and EMS.
We can change that though, couldn't we? Okay,
I don't know.
okay.
I was just saying that because you just said a minute ago, if the highway department needed it for,
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
for road closure.
that's why I went with this, because the company, the original company that called me was a lot more expensive. And I got to looking into it, and they sent me the letters from the state saying, yes, this is an approved purchase for this funding. And I, like I told John, I think, when I first got it, I was like, why not do it? It's something that, you know, 5, 10 years from now, we'll still be able to use, and any county agency can use it. So,
Not to change the subject, but $32,000, what's some of the programs that you're wanting to put over there? The software stuff, I mean, what's the cost of some of that stuff? I mean, would it not be better spent on some of your software to update that?
I don't know if that stuff would even fall under,
it was it had to be directly tied to informing the public or educating the
and I
public.
think these are covered because
It was an educational,
you could put these out to health department saying vaccine site.
yeah, it had to be about public awareness and education and
I don't
it
think
had very
the
specific.
upgrades I wanna do would be
uses.
covered under this particular.
I was just asking.
But,
because,
I mean, just to give you an example, the EMD program I wanna switch to is gonna be 41,000. So,
Okay. Questions? Motion?
I'll make a motion to pass 32,190 for the All Traffic Solutions.
Second by Randy, I'll make that unanimous.
Do they, does,
Have him sign those originals if you don't mind, Jim.
need to sign it, or?
Have him sign those originals. Underneath where it says auditor, Mike, if you don't mind, 'cause Jeff's got to sign up there on the department head line, just when you see auditor. On the front part of the claim. When you see county auditor, if you don't mind signing underneath county
Oh, here?
auditor, yeah, just, I normally draw a line for you guys, those claim forms don't print out with the commissioner's line on it,
Only one, or both of them?
because there's two of them.
That's all I got. Like I said, I sent you that email. Next Thursday, we'll be doing that demo. And they're providing lunch, so come on out and have lunch and
At,
or in front of the office there.
What time?
It's gonna start at 10,
What day?
next Thursday, the 15th.
I'm getting a shot that day, so.
Yeah, stop by after you get it.
Might be sick.
Want me to sign these tonight?
Just to clarify, I'm only taking a shot because I want to travel someplace.
When you order them, they're not in yet, are they?
All right, monthly claim consideration for March 21. Everybody had an opportunity to look at the claims.
I'll make a motion to pass.
John makes a motion to pass.
Second.
Randy seconds. I'll make that unanimous and I'll sign.
When you get them approved, then you just wait until the payment urgent.
It'll be on the last page. Ratification of claims approval.
Same.
I guess approval for IU Health. What's that, Tammy?
That, Nick Creepy.
Is that the one I already signed? Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, there was a deadline on this. There was a deadline on this that had to be signed by the end of the month. So I actually came in and signed it. And, I guess I just need approval to have signed something I already signed. But it's actually closing out the, I will explain it.
Let's go to you, Dan.
It's closing out the IU grant that, Nick was talking about at the previous meeting about the Scott County Infectious Disease Services, so it's just clearing out the final monies here, so. Can I get a motion to, sign this, if you wanna see it, John?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
John makes it, Randy seconds it, I'll make that unanimous, so. Payroll ratification, everybody had an opportunity to look at payroll and make sure everything's right,
I'll make a motion.
I second.
I'll make that unanimous. All right, consideration of the February 8th, 2021, minutes, and I guess,
Is that February 17th?
I've got 3 dates here, so I'm gonna, you want them all at the same time?
That'd
or-
be, if you guys
so-
like them all, but if you don't, then you can do.
I'm
it.
okay with all three of them.
Okay, well, I'm gonna give you the dates, so February the 8th, February the 17th, and March 3rd minutes. Does anybody wanna make a motion to accept the minutes as they're read?
What's that?
Randy makes a motion, John seconds to ratify it, and I'll make that unanimous, so. All right, we're down to, the highway director position. So what's everybody's thoughts there?
Haven't had anybody new apply or?
One person.
You all have the last round of apps we took in your own boxes. Everybody but the one that withdrew their application asked to be moved to the new folder. So with their permission,
This is the
you've
one
got, do you
that-
have your packet? This is you.
You got her names mixed up, but that's all right.
Oh, I'm sorry, here, I'll switch them. I wasn't even reading the outside, I just grabbed.
It was the same thing, I'm sure.
Yeah, it is.
Why is everybody always picking on me?
If this is the one I think it is, I've already reviewed it.
And I believe there was just one additional application
Yeah.
that came in.
So I'm gonna ask a question, I think I already know the answer, but, as far as engineers and, we didn't get anybody that's an engineer, correct?
I actually honestly did not look at the apps.
Cause
I didn't.
I'd actually had two people call me that were engineers that I was kind of questioning. And I told them I didn't know how the state looked at that for the fact that, an engineer is not an engineer that's not an engineer. So, you know, it's like a doctor, you know, you got cardiologists and you have, you know, you got brain surgeons and neurosurgeons and everybody else, so,
I was curious if the engineer necessarily had to be tied to the highway department. Is it something we could still hire somebody
for 40,000.
separately? No, I mean,
Yeah.
if we could do that still separate, even if we hired somebody tonight or whenever.
Yeah,
They
you
would
could,
just get the 40,000.
yeah, it'd be, I mean, I know Harrison County has just an engineer and he does both. I know Bartholomew County, which is a lot bigger county, they have both. They have an engineer and they have a superintendent, which I met today, so at a meeting, so. So yes, the answer to your question is, yes, you can hire a superintendent and you can hire a engineer, but
And I know we're not gonna hire an engineer for 40,000.
no.
But I'm wondering if this could be a guy come in and do this extra.
Like a part-time.
Yeah, he's already doing it somewhere else, and this would be an extra duty for him,
Well,
and he would get that money.
well, actually, speaking with the commissioner from Jefferson County today, he told me that they tried to partner with Clark County, but the MOU that they had back and forth wasn't giving them enough time with the engineer to fill what they wanted to do, so they didn't enter into an agreement with them, so.
Does anybody know the statute requires it be a full-time?
That's-
Benefits and that type of thing? Because you can share, right, with the
You can
county?
share with another county, but the thing about sharing, an engineer with, and this is to my knowledge, if, say, us and another county went together and said we wanted to hire the same, engineer, they'd get 40 and we get 40. It wouldn't be, you know, prorated to, hey, he's gonna be here 10% of the time and over there 90% of the time. It's, each county would get $40,000, but anyway,
And I just thought maybe there's some, I know one name myself that could maybe just do it part-time. I don't know if they could part-time and do what's gotta be done there. I think they could, from my understanding. We could keep them busy.
oh, I'm sure they could stay
Yeah.
busy, but, so what's your thoughts? I'll go back to my original thought, because I kind of swayed from it. I'm not happy with how, I guess, how the word got out, I guess, where we advertise. I mean, and I'm gonna be honest, not to degrade a newspaper or anything, but I probably haven't looked at the Croswell Times 3 times in the last year. I mean, and the only reason I looked at it twice was because somebody handed it to me. I mean, so in turn, if you don't want anybody to apply for a job, you know, I guess advertise in the Croswell Times. I mean, but I would like, I mean, this is my personal opinion, but I'd like to still try to hire an engineer. I mean, if that person is qualified and is, again, I'll go back to my original thought about an engineer, is that if you can talk to him and him not be, you know, so book smart that he can't function with people, I wouldn't hire that person for anything, so. What I'd like to see is to see if we can put in like some of the, not printed stuff, but like Indeed, you know, some of the other,
I've looked at Indeed and you have to subscribe. I
it's like
think.
$30 though, isn't it?
I don't know, I did,
Indeed's a pay-per-click, I believe.
Actually,
No.
I opened Indeed and looked, cause I've used multiple things as hiring, and what's Monster used to be one, I mean, they're not a big one anymore, but I'd like to try to at least give it an opportunity, because I've talked to engineers that already have jobs that are not interested in this job, but they're saying that there's people out there that if they knew about it, they'd be interested. But again, I think that, you know,
Do we have a LinkedIn page?
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
A what?
Because
LinkedIn.
because I'm actually in the process of hiring my company, and LinkedIn is one of the places, Indeed, we use.
I've used Indeed, and I've used Monster, and I've used
Yeah.
some others,
Monster is reasonable.
but
I'll give you my opinion, we've, not just us, but through the years, I think it's the third engineer, it's been hard, and I don't know of any of them I would consider have been very successful. I'm all for it, but let's see if we can get somebody to do an extra part-time thing or something like that, but we're closing in on 3 months, and I think we need to hire somebody. But it don't matter whether it's somebody I want or not, but
well,
that's just my opinion.
I remember spending probably twice that waiting for an EMS director, so.
But that ain't good though.
Oh, it wasn't good, and it's not good here either, and I'm not saying that. But, what's your thoughts, Randy?
I'd say we put a final date on it, when we're gonna decide, I guess, and then,
Now, the date is already over for applications for this one, right?
it closed last Friday,
Yeah.
or
Actually, Monday, 'cause of
Monday,
Good
sorry, because I
Friday.
forgot Good Friday, we extended it to Monday because of Good Friday closing.
I'm willing to wait one more, a little bit longer for see if an engineer shows up.
So you
I don't think one can there, unless we redo the
we have
application
to,
again.
we just have to open it up to
Yeah, that's what I'm
advertise it
saying.
again.
Or
But
can
I,
just extend it and we'll re-advertise it, we're continuing to take applications through, job opening, and, we
Well-
can just basically re-advertise and.
what I'd like,
And look at outlets.
I mean, a suggestion. We have a meeting in 2 weeks. You wanna extend it to then for the ads or you wanna, and then whatever happens then,
Well, it depends on how we're gonna add, I mean, how we're gonna place
Well, and
ads. If we ain't gonna
that's-
place ads,
that's the second thing I was gonna say
yeah,
here is
I
that,
mean, we might as well pick that.
cause
Fishing in the same pond if we just do the same
Yeah.
thing.
I think we advertise and find out what it is, but from what I saw on Indeed, I thought it was free to a certain extent, and then if you go outside a certain area, then they start charging you, so.
I know when we advertised for EMS directorship, we went to the Louisville market and tried a method that they had used at EMS before, trying to recruit, and it was quite expensive, it was $300 some, but it was on like a recruitment web page, and where people went to find jobs, and it stayed up there for 30 days, and, it was, but it was expensive.
I don't want to do it for 30
I
days.
don't see, it wouldn't bother me to spend $300 also.
Well, I think we need to at least give it a shot, and if we don't get any applications before our next meeting, then we make it, if we got new people we wanna interview, then we interview those people. If we don't, then we make a hire, so.
So post through, the 21st, I think is your next meeting,
Yeah,
is it 19?
That sounds right.
but I would
Is
like,
that right?
I'd like to have the, make a motion or something to give the authority to at least one or two sites that we have to pay for. I mean,
Yeah.
whether, and I mean, not to exceed a certain amount of money, I mean, I don't wanna, cause we don't need to, we need to put it out there for 10 days or 2 weeks or whatever
I
and
need to
say,
find out who's, I need to look at your all's budget lines too, we might have to transfer some money around, cause I don't know that there's, you know, recruitment line, or, there may be an advertising or legal notice line or
Do
something,
we,
I might be able to spend some money
are
on.
we getting another check from Venture?
We are getting checks from Venture,
Well,
yes,
then
I
can we-
bill
Will we
every,
take it out of that account?
I need to look at your all's fund ordinance, cause I
Cause
don't.
we said we could spend it anywhere we want on
Well,
projects.
It was, I think, on maintenance of county properties, I think that was mostly the gist of it.
I don't know.
I
Get creative.
get creative, I've been creative, don't want to say that too loudly.
Somebody else, that's not it. There's a great benefit to that if we have the right person. And again, we could have 10 engineers apply and 10 of them are jerks and you can't talk to them and I wouldn't hire them. I mean, so, or I wouldn't vote for one of those. So it has to be the right fit. So, and I'm not saying that I'm bound and determined to hire an engineer, but I would like to give it one last opportunity and
Do
then.
we have to accept applications from non-engineers? Could we just cut that off of what we got?
What's that?
Well, like we got an application here from somebody else, and I'm wondering if we could just, engineers is what we're looking at. Could we just not open it up to anybody who's not an engineer? In other words, what we have plus engineers.
Well, this guy's already applied, so.
Well, I know, I mean, well, I'll leave him in there, I'm just,
I'd say if you,
I don't know.
Well, in my opinion, if we're not gonna hire an engineer, we're gonna hire one of our own guys.
I agree with that.
So, I mean, I don't know why I know why we are. I don't know what good it does to allow other people.
I'd say at this point, the applications we have in our possession are in the mix. And if and I don't have that problem. I think if we can't get an engineer that is suitable for our job, then we pick from what we got. And I think that's what I was saying. So yes,
Yeah,
if we're putting the ad out there, cause I think it says engineer on the ad.
said preferred, didn't it?
It is, now, you guys all changed the job description to highway director.
Well, I know, because that's
Yeah,
some
and that's
technical
the,
thing.
yeah, and then it has the engineer on it. If you decide to, say for example, you don't hire an engineer, we will need to switch that job description back to
Back, yeah.
supervisor.
That's fine.
Okay, but as far as applications, I can't discriminate. You know, it just is what it is. I can't really,
You're not gonna turn
I
anybody
can't
down.
turn anybody away.
Yeah.
Because I've made a decision about somebody's application process that I don't really have a right to decide. You guys will weed it out if it does not meet your standards.
That's fine.
And then you have to do it on the back side. I can't do it on the front side.
You're right.
That's fine.
Never
So,
thought about that way.
yeah, we can accept that, so.
Not to interrupt, there's something else that we do have to ask about. We do not, you have any culverts yet to put in our paved roads or or the roads that we're getting ready to pave. We have not been able to order any culverts for those yet.
I think we're talking a money issue, right?
That's
And
what
you don't have the
it's
money,
called.
you don't have money in your,
We do not have any money to order any kind of.
how much money are we talking, Chad?
I
I don't know how many we're talking there.
I know Denver's got quite a few, and I've got
I've
some big
ordered.
ones, and
I've ordered culverts.
for your district. Well, how do we get mine?
Wait a minute, what are you paying for them out of?
Teresa's moved, saying she was gonna move some money around.
Just for your district?
Yeah, that was ordered yesterday. or-
Yeah, but not, I'm not taking from your district.
No, I know that, I just, I've been wondering that myself.
I
You
usually
and I
ask
haven't.
more.
No, I've got-
Money's gonna have to be moved around anyway, because there was $70,000 less, in the budget. But I had to move on because there's so many culverts in my roads at this point, and before we can pave them. I had to do something.
Well, I know today, and I'll show you some pictures before it's over with, but I've got a gentleman that we're gonna pull a culvert out that we already put in because they crushed it. And, huh?
Leo,
No, Wes Craig.
Yeah.
And, so anyway, that's another story, but I don't know how they crushed it, but,
that might be coming to quality of pipes are hitting.
but anyway, I asked, do what now?
Quality of the pipes, they've
You got any thoughts on the
started to
culvert?
go down.
Well, I asked Steve to pull it out and put another one in. He said it'd be a 12 or an 18. I said, I don't care which one it is, whatever it needs to be able to, fix it right now. We'll use that 15 somewhere else because it just buckled it a little bit.
Yeah, I just don't think they're just not as good culverts.
Well, I've never seen one do that.
Yeah,
And the pictures I have where the dump truck was stuck is not even on the culvert.
Yeah, he's barely touching the culvert with one
Yeah,
tire.
his nose of the truck is not even on the road,
Yeah.
but he's hung up. So,
I believe, John, that Teresa's got a plan to give like $13,000 to each one of us for
And,
culverts. Is that what you guys just talked
No,
about?
I don't blame you what you did. You did
No,
you did the
I'm
right thing. I
telling
did-
you.
Yeah, and I would discuss, yeah.
No,
So I don't know if
I
you
got
need
that
that.
from Lori.
Yeah,
Lori was just
I got it,
saying we didn't have no money for
Thank you.
them, so.
well, we need to move money around because we buy more culverts than we buy anything, so,
Yeah.
we need to be able
Yeah,
to
but
have.
we've gotta let them settle before we pay on them, and usually we start in May or so.
And the
Right.
$70,000 was a state cut. This
Yeah, that's
budget
what I
went up
heard.
too fat. So they've said, do this, and then there's also another line that was, short, so to speak. So we ended up being about an $83,000 swing to the negative in that whole budget. And then, so auditor has authority to move money in categories, but if it goes from like the 3,000s up to the 1,000s, you're gonna need council to do that. But that's whenever you write your letter of transfer request and you make that petition
Well,
to the council, so.
Those are items that are necessary, and we need to, whatever we need to do, we need to put the money over there. We might cut something else, but that's not the
And we're
fund to
also
be
out of
cut.
signs.
Huh?
We're also out of road signs, right? Just pretty much out of road signs.
Yeah, well, we got the barriers, they're still there, but I think we're missing some cones. I don't know if somebody got some through the food drive stuff or what, I don't know, because we thought we had some over there and we can't find them. I know we had about 60 of them, and they said there's only like 25 of them at the health department. And those were all the brand new ones, and I couldn't find any the other day.
Huh?
Outside of what the health department's got, we've only got 2 or 3 now.
Yeah.
Really?
I thought we was out of road signs also though.
For,
Like stop signs
Like the
and.
stop signs and the.
I haven't had a replacement on them all.
Speaking of that stop sign, Tammy, what do we need to do on putting the stop sign at, Boatman Road?
I've never dealt with that and since I've been auditor, but I can look into that and see if I
Do
can
we
track
have
the
to-
ordinances.
We have to change an ordinance or add an ordinance or something?
I'm not really for sure if you have to or if you just have to. There's traffic ordinances that I've got in a section in there in my ordinance book, and I can go back and see
Yeah.
if there has to do something with stop signs.
We need to get it put up,
where at?
Boatman and Little York.
I keep looking for.
It's gonna happen. Bowman and Little York, the three-way. I've had some families out there calling me saying that people run 70, 80 miles an hour down the road. So we're gonna try to break that up by putting a stop sign there where they have to stop.
And they probably are running that fast, it's awful.
Well, there's a lady that's got kids out there and she's rightly worried that, somebody's gonna have an accident out there and hit one of their kids, which it only takes once.
If nothing else, we'll sell more gas because they'll have to speed up again.
That's fine. Second thing on here is the highway secretary position. I know we tabled that because you wanted to wait and see what,
Yeah, but
Andrew wanted to do that. I think we I think we adopt whatever the next level for Lori's pay is and pay her back to the day that, Jill left. And
I second that.
there ought to be money down there because we haven't been paying Jill's salary out, so there ought to be money in the.
We could ask, yeah.
But you gotta go to council, I think, and ask them.
Because they classify and compensate.
So we gotta
But
pass
so
the
your
first one.
recommendation, yes,
we
it would
have-
be then to, move her to the bookkeeper level.
Yeah.
And then I could bring the job description back and you guys could adopt it and then approach.
Okay.
And we
Well,
can get her a letter for council, if that's your all, whenever you guys make your motions or whatever,
Randy made a motion, John seconds it, I'll make that unanimous, so
in retro,
retro it back to the day that Jill
January
left, so.
15th, or the next business day, yeah, January 15th. after
Um,
January.
The next thing, is an additional lawsuit for the opioid. See if I can find my,
Can I backtrack for a minute?
yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Chad?
Yes, sir.
Kevin, Chad, hey, the only, I think that you guys are perfectly capable, both of you, to do this job. The only hesitant that I have, period, is the fact that the state is wanting to pay us $40,000 for an attorney. Makes you think that they want you
Engineer.
to have.
For somebody
I'm
that's
sorry,
got
an
nobody down
engineer.
there though, that's the thing, can they run for 13 guys down there, that's my biggest question.
You're 100%
Because they don't
right.
know what any of them can do down there.
You're right,
Me and Kevin do.
Yeah.
They're not going to.
and I agree with that.
That's our biggest concern, really.
But it's just, what lingers in the back of my mind is, if the state is wanting to pay us $40,000 for an engineer, then they want us to have an engineer.
We can go to some
Yeah.
seminars, you wouldn't have to have that 40 grand at all. And we can learn exactly what Jill did or anybody else could do for the bridges.
Right, I'm just worried about future, the state wanting to work with us in the future. You know what I'm saying?
No, not really.
Well, I mean, I'm just telling you guys that that's the only hesitance in my mind, period. Other than, what we're talking about.
ESO
agreement for that
software combination. You guys did that at
the
3-3 Well, meeting. about them
It's in your
not
minutes, you just approved.
Wanting to give us grants or, whatever, when they offer you $40,000 to get you an engineer, they're wanting you to
Yeah,
have.
put it on
I guess
this
we
day.
just kind of look at it if, when that does happen, or if it does happen, it just becomes a dead end job
Yeah,
for some of us. That's how it's just discouraging, we've been going for so long, and it's
right.
kind of falling apart
I
out there.
understand that. I do understand that,
Stuff falling apart big time out there.
but it's a hard decision, I don't want you guys to have your feelings hurt very much, All right, that's all I have.
Okay, thanks,
All
John.
right.
Take care, Chad.
Bob Houston called me about, an additional lawsuit that our, attorneys in Washington DC that, originated, the other lawsuit that we have with Purdue Farms, or Pharmacy. And there's an additional lawsuit that, this attorney is wanting to file, with a different group. And I guess he's just wanting us to okay that for them to do this, and it's not gonna take as long, they don't feel, as it did with the first lawsuit. And it's, I don't really know exact wording, but it's almost like it's a, it's going to set up the second lawsuit, payout or how the payout's handled. So I guess with that, I mean, if anybody's got any questions that.
He wants another lawyer for
No,
the second
no,
lawsuit?
same attorney.
Okay.
It's gonna kind of piggyback on
It's,
the current one that's
yeah,
there.
it's,
It's gonna be
it's,
an additional.
it's an additional suit, that only us, Scott County, is filing, against, another, company, that will, once a decision's rendered in that suit, will assist the other suit in how the payout is. With that, I'm gonna talk about the other lawsuit, with Purdue Pharma. Just a second, and I'm not an expert on this, so I'm just flying off of what I'm being told and stuff, is that, we need to, as commissioners, either communicate, however that you wanna do that, whether it's, email, pick the phone up and call, drive up there and sit down in front of people, but we need to communicate to our Attorney General, how, I guess, fill out the history and tell, our Attorney General that Scott County was one of them that originated the lawsuit. I mean, we were the first to file a lawsuit against Purdue Pharma, and that now that it's turned into a class action lawsuit with everybody joining the lawsuit, we're going to get shoved out of, what we originally should have got. And I'm talking shoved out of, the financial gain of a lawsuit that we were filing. And now that there's a bunch of big players, and I think there's 20 other players in the state of Indiana, and everybody would think that the state of Indiana would sue them, but the state of Indiana didn't sue them. But in turn, the state of Indiana can, and I don't know if this is gonna happen, but the state of Indiana could actually receive the monies from our lawsuit and then distribute it however they wanna do it, which is not fair. I mean, not fair but that's how, I guess, the legal, system works, is that, once it goes to class action, then they tend to do something different. But I'm not an expert on it. You wanna ask Bob?
He wants to have an executive with you guys probably in
Yeah.
the next week. So he told me he would get back with me, after I had conversation. And we actually watched a webinar today, and,
Actually,
he's got more
didn't get to see
to
it,
tell
so.
you, about that, and he would like to have an executive session for the pending litigation.
Yeah, it's, and we're talking, if I'm not mistaken, and this is the first lawsuit we filed, the judgment, or what the Purdue Pharma tried to settle with, was $4.5 billion. And that's not just with us, that's with everybody. But they turned it down. So the second number that I heard was $7 billion. But again, to get Scott County's equal, monies out of that, are we gonna get what's fair, or are we gonna just get crumbs?
Probably not.
We're gonna get crumbs of what everybody else, cause now all of a sudden, everybody's thinking, wow, that's a bunch of money, and I want the money for, Marion County, or Hendricks County, or everybody else, and that's just not fair, because they didn't start the lawsuit. We stuck our neck out and started the process, and we ought to get paid for our process, instead of saying, okay, you started it, but we're gonna finish it, and then you're not gonna get anything. So anyway, yes, Bob, if he wants to have an executive session, just, I guess I'm open anytime, so.
I'm surprised somebody ended up in jail from this stuff.
Well, the family still, there are some people within Purdue Pharma executives that still could see prison time. And it's because they knew that the drug was addictive, and they still promoted it.
A lot of people died.
So that part is not over yet, so.
Okay.
So anyway, yes, if you want to set up an executive, I guess just tell him to get a hold of people and find out when it is or when it isn't, so. The next thing we got here is the FMLA extension request.
Proceed, then, do you guys wanna make a motion to proceed with,
Executive session.
Oh, no,
with the
no.
lawsuit?
Yeah, I need a motion to accept, to file the second lawsuit, with this other company and that our attorneys want to file. so.
And let me make sure I'm doing right here. I think the second lawsuit is to make us get our fair share.
Yes and no. It's a lawsuit against a secondary company that is involved that, from what I'm being told, is it will, when that lawsuit, which will be over quickly, will put us in better standings with this first lawsuit that will say,
Okay.
you know, and it's, hopefully it's all set up to hopefully put us in a better light of we deserve what we started out, you know, trying to get, so. So, I guess again, I need a motion to, I guess, give the attorneys the authority to file the second lawsuit against the secondary company. John makes a motion. Randy seconds it, I'll make that unanimous, so. FMLA extension request. Do we have that in our packet?
Right here, it's in this folder.
I think I know what it is.
I think I do too,
Read the,
but are we, did we get a date on that?
that, you'll wanna look at
It's
that
on
folder.
there. It's on there.
And this might be, if it's what I'm thinking, this might be one that we probably have our attorney look at, so.
Needed it, I think.
And the handbook does allow for an
Yeah.
extension request, and it's up to the Board of Commissioners to allow Randy for anybody who exceeds the normal 12-week or 1,250 hours of FMLA that they're given, to be taken within a year or up to 12 weeks of normal hours off. And we have made allowances in the past and have made it part of personnel policy that extensions can be requested in 30-day increments, basically. You know, because you don't want to have to hire somebody if you're already trained person that's only got a week more rehab, you know, physical therapy or whatever to be able to return to work. It's not cost effective to let them go after they couldn't come back from an FMLA within 7 days of.
Well, just to clarify, FMLA doesn't pay you, it just guarantees your job. So your benefits, you still have to pay on your own, and you don't get paid your wages, so, I think in the beginning, if I'm not mistaken, you can actually get paid out your vacation and any PTO time that you want to pay out.
Yes.
You can accept that or not accept that, so.
Your maid take everything but 2 weeks, and then that's optional after that.
Yeah, so, I'll accept a motion to accept, the 30 extra days, and there is a date on the FMLA, and so,
Yeah.
John makes a motion. Randy seconds it, and I'll make that unanimous, so. Do I need to sign this?
Please. And I think there's a request for the form that's underneath the first page or two there, it's got. And if you just sign anywhere on that,
This
I think that's a request.
says approved,
Yes.
so I'll mark approved, and this without pay. Last thing we have here is the county attorney.
I had one more letter of interest that was sent to me. I actually took a few days off a couple of weeks ago. And this is the additional interest letter. And you guys have been advised of anybody so far. I've given those to you over the last couple of months that we've looked at. And that's the last one.
I want to add somebody to that list, and it's technically somebody that applied to the to the council. And actually, his name is Zach Stewart. He, because I think if we do what I think we probably should do, I don't think the council needs representation 100% of the time. And I think we could, I'm not saying we're gonna eliminate any kind of money, because we can kill two birds with one stone, and if they need assistance, or, and what my thought has always been is if there's a conflict between the council and the commissioners, that one of us go out and seek outside counsel, I mean, for that particular circumstance.
I think, Tammy Miller, that I think by law, commissioners have to have an attorney.
Commissioners, I believe,
I
statute.
mean, that's when you
Yes.
said, if it comes between us and them,
They would have to go.
They would have to
Yeah.
hire somebody.
Yeah, they would have to go out and hire outside
And we
counsel.
could share with them though.
Yeah,
I think.
I think so. I mean, and quite honestly, I don't know how many times I think there was the one time, and the one time created another attorney. So,
Well, I
Routinely,
suggested last meeting to them that was an option too.
I remember I saw
And
that.
I think you were there when I told them, I said routinely, or may have been John, the only needs they have for an attorney has to do,
Clarification.
and for tax abatements, and we have a redevelopment consultant, and usually the tax abatements are in our TIF areas and whatnot, so she's very capable of handling that work and billing counsel for, abatement work that we would do, so that there's not a heightened need like there is for the
Yeah.
contracting agent, which would be the commissioners.
Well, anyway, I would like to put Zach Stewart in that list of, and I don't know if his app is, or his paperwork or anything's with the council or what, but,
No, but if do you have contact with, can you tell
I
him to send a note to me, a letter of interest, or email to me saying that he would like to be considered?
Yeah, sure.
That's all I need from him.
He's from Henryville.
yep. Yeah, he actually,
He specializes in civil.
he's got a lot of municipalities.
Yeah.
And a lot of corporations that he's attorney for. But anyway, I'd like to add his name to it. And then I guess, I know we're talking about, do we wanna put a deadline on when we make a decision here? Wanna do it for the next meeting?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
You go with that?
2
So,
weeks, yeah.
so we'll make a decision the
April
21st.
Okay.
And I have one last thing here, and this is something I have, and I'm gonna read it to you. It is our attorney got me and maybe you probably read, he sent an email to you, John, about this agreement for the hospital.
Yes, that's the only thing I added, I sent back to him, you might wanna put maintenance on that.
Well, he told me that, and I don't know if that's, I wouldn't sign something like that, because I don't understand what you're talking about with maintenance. If we're occupying a space and we're getting, it's a lease agreement, even though it's a lease agreement that we're not paying anything, if we clog the sink up, I think we ought to fix it.
You know, I don't have any problem with any of that, I
Yeah.
just don't want no questions when it happens.
No,
Is it ours or is theirs?
It's ours, and I agree.
But I'm talking more like if the lights, well, I don't know, whatever, something happened in that room,
Well, we're leasing that room, so I'd say if we got a bulb that goes out or something like that, then we're replacing the bulbs, so.
what if the air conditioning goes out? Or what if the furnace, I don't know if we have something specific for our room or
Yeah.
not.
I
I didn't think it'd be that difficult, I thought it'd be easy to just throw that in there and then sign it and we'd be done, but
well, when you, to me, if you, and he didn't feel like that, or I was under the impression he didn't feel like that was,
he didn't feel like we need to do any of this.
oh, I know it. And that's been the thing from the get-go, but I'm gonna read this agreement, and I wanna get, actually, there's places for all of us to sign, so I can get it out to the hospital and get them to sign, so we can move this thing down the road. So anyway, the agreement's read, the Board of Commissioners of Scott County tenant in the, RHN Scott Memorial Hospital LLC Hospital, in order to improve and provide service to the citizens of Scott County, Indiana, agrees to the follows. The letter of intent between the tenant and the hospital dated September 18, 2020 shall become part of this agreement. Because of the nature of the agreement and the desire of the parties, there is no term for this agreement. However, it is fully understood that the tenant will spend funds to improve the defined space, and the hospital will donate the use of the defined space. Both parties shall direct by desire to serve the citizens of Scott County. No rent shall be required or accepted. The hospital shall pay utilities. All installed equipment shall be the property of the tenant, shall be removed at the termination of the agreement. The improvements of the identified space shall be the property of the hospital. The agreement shall be terminated after 30 days of written notice for either party. So, you good with that, Randy? John? So what do you want?
I want maintenance in there. I wanna know who's responsible.
But
we can vote.
So, do I have a motion or to accept the letter?
I'll make a motion.
I have a second. I'll second that, cause, I just think that, we're asking for something that, you know, if I was renting someplace and I take responsibility for the property, I mean, so if something breaks or something happens within there, the water line breaks or something happens, that's a responsibility of the tenant.
So we're accept, I understand that. We're gonna accept responsibility if something goes wrong in there.
Yeah, so I'll second the motion, and I guess all in favor, since we're all through. Randy and I, and
No.
John votes no, so.
I just think we need to move one way or
Well,
another.
I agree with you on that part. I agree with you on that part. I just thought this was a simple thing that would have been handled real quick, but that's okay. We do need to move on, you're right.
Yeah, so, with that, John, you got anything else?
No, sir. Had a good meeting.
It's a long meeting.
Yeah, it is.
So,
I have one thing.
I didn't ask you.
I know. I just wanted to point out that I did distribute a monthly report for the Plan Commission. We had the biggest march we've ever had. And applications are still coming in. Multiple applications are coming in daily. So we anticipate a big spring and then trickling out in the summer perhaps. But Vienna seems to be the most active right now.
Good.
So there.
I'm seeing a lot of
I'm
homes.
one of them applications.
Really am, and nice homes.
Oh, yes.
I'm one of them
So
applications.
this is really excellent news, right?
Oh, yes. It's added like 958,000 to our valuation, and that's
Yeah.
just an estimate.
Well,
Yeah.
somebody brought it to my attention, and I don't know what kind of revenue it is, but where we're talking about these subdivisions and taking on these roads, the more roads that we take on, the more money we generate from the state. So
Yeah.
it's not always a lose-lose situation by taking something on, so anyway. If we don't have anything else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Yeah. You wanna do it, Randy?
Go ahead.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
John makes a motion, Randy
I'll
seconds, and I'll make it unanimous.
You do better than I do. I in the meeting, I switch over. Somebody remind me to adjourn.
Tammy?